nearly 6 year civil war. President Trump's new administration isn't directly involved due to the immediate demands of the transition, according to the State Department. Syria's civil war has killed at least 400,000 people and has caused the largest refugee crisis since World War II. Dave.
Jessica, the Super Bowl is set. The Atlanta Falcons will take on the New England Patriots. After New England beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Falcons routed the Green Bay Packers. This is Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
38 degrees, cloudy skies. There is just a bit of morning fog, but not too bad so far. 5:02 is our time. On AM 560, The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. United Airlines says domestic flights are on the move again after being grounded late Sunday into the overnight hours because of a computer problem. Company spokeswoman Maddie King said it was an IT issue that originally caused the ground stop. It's been resolved. Flights are resuming and appear to be okay so far this morning. Organizers estimate that around 250,000 took part in the women's marches on Saturday in Chicago. No arrests reported, but hundreds of thousands of dollars of debris and trash was left behind. One man is dead following a stabbing on Chicago's South Side. Reginald Boston was hit with a knife early yesterday during an altercation with another man. The man he knew, and it happened in the 3200 block of East 91st. Boston later died at a nearby hospital. No one in custody following a shooting on Chicago's southwest side that killed one woman and wounded two men. Authorities say Natalia Ramirez and two men were shot while sitting in a parked car Saturday near 38th and South St. Louis. Shooting's part of a violent weekend in Chicago where at least 45 were wounded, as many as 5 killed. Illinois lawmakers set to get an earful about the state that is Illinois this week. But what they'll do to try and change things is still up in the air. Lawmakers returned to the Capitol for the first time since a perfunctory day of work since they took the oath of office earlier this month. Get ready to hear about taxes and pensions and debt as leaders in the Illinois Senate hope to vote on the first 14 pieces of legislation that make up the so-called grand bargain this week. Governor Rauner set to deliver his State of the State speech on Wednesday. The Illinois Supreme Court says Chicago cannot force companies to slap a tax on residents who rent cars in the suburbs. Court says there could be serious problems if other cities had the same policy. Chicago levying a 9% tax at car rental companies within 3 miles of the city limits. Chicago Tribune says the city assumed that a Chicago resident was using the rental car more than half of the time in the city. Enterprise and Hertz filed that lawsuit. Chief Judge in Northern Illinois says more officers are needed to comply with an Illinois Supreme Court rule banning the automatic shackling of juvenile suspects in state courtrooms. The Rockford Register-Star reporting that the Chief Judge is asking for more money to hire additional officers. It will cost around $50,000 to pay those officers through September 30, an annual cost per year of about $205,000. Well, if you have tickets to the Kings of Leon concert tonight at the United Center, forget it, huh? Tennessee Rockers have rescheduled for March 8th for a pretty good reason. Drummer Nathan Followell has been diagnosed with pneumonia. Tickets honored on that new date, or you can get a refund. NHL, Jonathan Toews, the tiebreaker. Blackhawks over Vancouver, 4-2. We need to start thinking about Northwestern University as an NCAA tournament team. We just had the Cubs win the World Series. Now we have Northwestern possibly going to the NCAA tournament. They beat Ohio State for the first time in Ohio since 1977 over the weekend. 74-72. Valparaiso over UIC, 96-65. Alec Peters, now Valparaiso's all-time leading scorer. He had 30 in that win for the Crusaders. The news service of Connect Better. When you connect better, everything comes together. Join the more than 3 million who use GoToMeeting every month to connect with their team. Try it free at gotomeeting.com. 5:06, time to check the climate of your business with aircomfort.com, providing the right climate for business since 1935. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
From the Pilgrims at Plymouth Rock to the American Revolution to the Union's victory in the American Civil War, the divine hand of Providence has guided America's rise to greatness. Join Michael Medved as he tells the story of the American miracle. Presented by Active Alarm Company. Thursday, February 2nd at Belvedere Banquets in Elk Grove Village. Tickets for this special luncheon begin at just $32. Get yours today at 560theanswer.com/miracle. Sponsored in part by Chicago Anesthesia and Pain Specialists.
CashCasters.com is a unique online marketplace where you make cash offers for products or professional services you would like to buy or use. Do you need extra cash or have items or professional services you'd like to sell online, or would you like to post an online cash offer for products or professional services? Then sign up today at CashCasters.com. It's easy. People offer their products or professional services to you based on your cash offer. Simply post any item you'd like for free, along with a minimum price you are willing to accept. Every time you post, CashCasters automatically sends your offer to all matching cash offers. It's always free to post products, so post as many as you would like, or make a cash offer on any product or professional service you desire. Be one of the first 200 people to either make a cash offer or post a product, and you will automatically be registered to win a 10-inch Samsung Galaxy tablet. Full details at CashCasters.com. Sign up now to catch a deal today. Visit CashCasters.com. That's CashCasters.com.
You're never too old to learn something new, especially when it concerns your golden years. Join North Shore Capital Group at their retirement educational classes held at local colleges in your community. Each class is an interactive workshop that's held over 2 sessions and includes a workbook for you to keep and follow. Instructor Victor Rigoni will provide you with the tools and guidance to help you reach your personal finance retirement goals. At the end of the full class, you'll receive an opportunity to book an independent, complimentary consultation so that you can implement a proper retirement strategy. It's never too late to educate yourself about retirement. Call North Shore Capital Group, 312-260-7929. That's 312-260-7929 to find a workshop near you. North Shore Capital Group Incorporated, an independent firm with securities offered through Summit Brokerage Services, Inc., member FINRA SIPC, and advisory services offered through Summit Financial Group, Inc., a registered investment advisor. 847-735-9200, 250 East Illinois Road, Suite 201, Lake Forest, Illinois, 60045.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I had gout in both my knees, and it's gone.
Well, I'm pretty stupid. I should have ordered it 15 years ago. It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life.
He had eczema on his hand, and it cracked for years. He did anything from doctor, every cream, everything. And 3 months on the veggies and fruit, it was gone.
They're just awesome. They keep asking me, what am I doing? I told them what I did with my cholesterol. I had the blood test, right? And it went down 100 points. 262, now it's 162. Everything is just perfect.
Balance of Nature is celebrating its 20th anniversary by providing you the best offer they've ever given. 2 free months of fruits and veggies and free shipping. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
Are you losing sleep over recent market volatility affecting your hard-earned retirement savings? Let's face it, if you're at or near retirement, you can't afford to lose 40% of your nest egg like so many did in 2008. On one hand, you want safety and guarantee of principal. On the other hand, most people prefer the potential of higher growth by being linked to the market. Now you can have both, principal protection during market downturns and desirable market-linked growth during upturns. This strategy, offered by a highly rated insurance company, also provides a 5% upfront bonus and 10% simple growth for up to 10 years for income. That's right, create your own pension. 5% upfront bonus and 10% simple growth per year for income you can't outlive. For a custom illustration, contact Kelly Financial Services, Inc. at 708-576-8999. 708-576-8999. Guarantees based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Terms of contract apply as well as surrender charges for terminating early. Income value not available for withdrawal.
5:10, let's get an update on the roads this early morning in our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Mike. You mentioned there is a little fog. The flight boards at O'Hare show very few delays. Those that are in effect are mainly affecting arriving flights. There aren't many. And on the roads, things look good, too. No crashes or incidents to report right now. The expressways, tollways, and major thoroughfares. There is construction on the outbound ride from 87th to Split. 2 left lanes are closed until 6 this morning, but otherwise, things are looking good. Traffic is a service of LifeLock. Grabbing coffee or breakfast? If you swipe your card, you leave a trail of digital information thieves can use to steal your identity. Ever hear of LifeLock? Their U.S.-based team of specialists help resolve identity theft problems. Go to lifelock.com now. Use promo code RISK to save 10%. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Here's meteorologist Michael Stack.
Today, mostly cloudy skies, high 44. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, low 34. More clouds for your Tuesday, high 43. Considerably cloudy with a rain or snow shower in spots. Wednesday's high 43. I'm Michael Stack on AM 560, The Answer.
37 at O'Hare, 38 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update is at 5:30. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now. On AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Kelly Financial Services, helping you secure your financial future today. Visit kellyfinancialservicesinc.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, it was such a nice weekend, such an enjoyable weekend, such a fun weekend with the inaugural. I played golf Saturday morning.
Oh, nice.
Just as Obama made the oceans recede, Trump brought golf weather to Chicago in January. We had the women's P marches all over the world, and those were super entertaining. Was so happy to see the great turnout for those marches. I really was, and I'll explain why. And then
yesterday
Sunday,
happened.
the Falcons and the Patriots.
Yeah, so how's that flea flicker doing for you this morning, huh?
Yeah, that's the least of the problem.
That Hogan guy, it's so amazing. He never played. He played 1 year of college ball because he was a lacrosse player.
Yeah.
And he was quite spectacular yesterday. I'm sorry that your Steelers lost.
Well,
it actually was a boring game.
Yeah.
I mean,
turnovers.
The
of course,
Falcons game was boring, too.
Turnover not called. Brady fumble not properly called. So, more home cooking for the Pats, more cheating for the Pats.
Well,
that's what they do.
Speaking of cheating, I think that they didn't get a good night's sleep because that 25-year-old punk from Boston, decided to pull the fire alarm.
Yeah.
Well, no, that interrupts your sleep. You need a good night's sleep before the game.
Yeah, okay.
Trust me.
I'm not going to make excuses. It wasn't close enough to make excuses. I'm just going to complain like a diehard of any team who'd lost would complain. It's just the Patriots were the better team yesterday. Steelers didn't play well enough, unfortunately. So, as predicted, Super Bowl 51.
Not
Green Bay and
Steelers.
Pittsburgh. It's the opposite, which is about the story of my life.
Your prediction made it to the championships, the Final Four, so that's
true.
good.
I'm just
Did
glad.
you win any money off of any bets?
I'm just
might have
glad.
made?
I'm just glad the Steelers got to the championship game and the Cowboys did not. Okay. So all of the Cowboys fans, and I loathe the Cowboys, and all the Cowboys fans that were rubbing it in with the great run that Dak Prescott took the Cowboys on of the season, to see them stop by Green Bay, not make it to the championship game, obviously the Super Bowl, and the Steelers at least make it to the championship game. That's some solace, but it's little
It's all
solace.
right. The Falcons, with the second time in their team history they've been to the Super Bowl.
Well,
I think it's
of
going to be
course.
boring. It's going to be a blowout.
No, it's not.
The Patriots are going to win.
It's not going to be a blowout. 1998, Falcons went. Of course, that was the year. Remember, they upended the 15-1 Randall Cunningham-led Vikings in the championship game to make it to the. That was back when Morton Anderson was still kicking. Actually, he might be. I think he's kicked into his early 60s. But those were the Dirty Birds. Dan Reeves' Dirty Birds in '98. Remember?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So you think the Falcons are going to win?
I think it's going to be a very good game.
Really?
And
Okay.
remember, New England hasn't blown anybody out in their Super Bowl wins. They've been predicted to be blowouts, and they've all been close games. A couple of field goals, the difference in two of their 4 Super Bowl victories in the Brady era.
And Brady's been their 7th. This will be his 7th Super Bowl.
I know, it's annoying.
It is. You know what? It's going to be similar to what we're going to be experiencing with the Chicago Cubs. They're going to keep winning and winning and going back and winning the World Series.
They're going to win so much you get sick of it. Perfect segue to Donald Trump, who, of course, was inaugurated on Friday. Yay!
Oh, I watched it, and then I watched it again, and then I watched it again. I was at home. I was a homebody all Friday and all Friday night and Saturday.
Well, let's focus on the inaugural speech first and take your reactions to the speech because there's some controversy around it. Of course, we're talking about Donald Trump. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. It was nicely summed up, I thought, and accurately summed up by a piece by Peggy Noonan over the weekend. I don't always agree with Peggy Noonan, but I think she got this right. She summed it up very nicely saying, quote, "It was pow right in the face," unquote. That's what it was.
Or was it the most radical ever?
It
the
was
most divisive speech ever? I mean, that's how everybody described it.
Not everybody, because that's not how Peggy Noonan described it.
Cable news.
Yeah, right.
Pundits.
A certain group of D.C. press corps types and never Trumpers like George Will, who, by the way, not getting his contract at Fox renewed, interestingly.
Oh.
One of many, including some that were not never Trumpers, not being renewed. I mean, it could be just a generational thing, too. Our friend Cal Thomas not being renewed.
Oh, really?
Sorry to hear that. But anyway, that's at least a report out over the weekend. But I thought it was, positively Trumpian. It was aggressive, but just borrowing from Peggy Noonan again, because I'll just telescope the better thinkers and writers than myself. She writes, Trump presented himself not as a Republican or a conservative, but as a populist independent. The essential message, remember those things I said in the campaign? I meant them. I meant it all. I think that's right. And frankly, I didn't have a problem with it. I didn't need to hear about shuttered factories 4 times in 17 minutes. But in terms of the tone and direction of it, I rather enjoyed it. And there were notes of unity interspersed throughout, both at the beginning and the end. It bookended nicely, but there was an aggressive posture in the middle, and it went right after the establishment, and it went right after a lot of the people in both parties that were sitting on that dais. And you know what? Good. That's the point.
But not one former president sitting there voted for Donald Trump. Bush didn't vote for Donald Trump, and of course, obviously.
And so, right. And so, I'm sorry, what is off tone about it? The whole question of this election, is the revolt real? And the answer on November 8th was yes. And Trump took to that stage, delivered that inaugural address, and said, I recognize it was real. I recognize I'm a vehicle for that revolt, and I'm going to do the things that I said. That what I said during the campaign was not just rhetoric to stoke the revolt. It was in part that, but not just that. And now that I won this victory that surprised everybody on this stage, we're going to do what I said we're going to do, generally speaking.
Well, he's going to be here for the people. He's going to give the power back to the people.
Well, what's wrong with that?
Well, is it true? Is he going to give the power back to the people? Because they did a cutaway shot of Obama, and he's sitting there rolling his eyes.
Right.
And the other time, he's closing his eyes, rocking like, make it stop.
Right, because who is he denigrating by extension with what he had to say?
Today's ceremony, however, has very special meaning. Because today, not merely transferring power from one administration to another, or from one party to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people.
So that necessarily implies that the power has resided in D.C. to the benefit of the politicians, and to the exclusion and the detriment of the people. So, of course, that means Obama and W and Clinton, and go back further than that, you were the guys that concentrated power here at the expense of the people. Now we're doing a 180. That's what I intend to do. Now we'll see if he does it. One thing we've learned from Obama is speechifying doesn't make something happen.
No.
But the posture he took couldn't have been clearer.
Right. And he's, painted a dark future or dark past of our country. And he said that he's the only one that's going to be able to fix it.
January 20th, 2017 will be remembered as the day the people became the rulers of this nation again. mothers and children trapped in poverty in our inner cities, rusted out factories scattered like tombstones across the landscape. This American carnage stops right here and stops right now.
Yeah.
Wow, that's the line that's going to be remembered.
Right. You don't expect to hear the phrase American carnage in an inaugural address, but I don't think it was painting a dystopian future for America. It was describing the reality on the ground.
Was that respectful, though, to the former presidents who were sitting behind him?
Is that what?
That's what all the pundits were saying, that this is very disrespectful.
Well,
it's radical.
Well,
he's unhinged. That's what I heard.
I guess that's the point. I guess that's the point. Some people think that we exist to serve the president of the United States and the political class in D.C., and Trump is saying, no, actually, this whole entire government exists to serve the people. So I guess that's just a very different worldview that the D.C. press corps have, some of them, than what Trump is extolling. And that's why he was elected president of the United States, and they and their handmaidens were not. Take your calls after this.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up, your reaction to the inaugural address, 312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line today. Mostly cloudy, mild, though, a high of 44 degrees. And then tomorrow, clouds continue, but still mild for this time of year, a high of 42. Let's say good Monday morning to our friend Jim Talamonte.
Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Dan. On the expressways and tollways, things are looking pretty good, too, so far. No delays to report on the Edens, the Kennedy, the Eisenhower. Inbound Stevenson getting a little congested approaching Lakeshore Drive. Still got that road work there. Inbound Ryan, it's slow from Roosevelt into the Burns Circle. Just a 1 or 2 minute delay. Outbound, there's construction. 87th to the split in the 2 left lanes. Scheduled till 6. Inbound Bishop Ford now is a brief delay from Cottage Grove to the Ryan. Tollways are fine. Northwest Indiana, fine as well. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
The website, upstream-ideas.com, premium content that complements what we do here on this show. Long-form interviews. This week, we'll feature longtime Chicago newsman Bernie Judge to talk about what's fake news and what is not. Podcast of our Illinois Rising program, this week featuring a discussion of this terrible potential grand bargain in the General Assembly to raise your taxes and do little else. Also, 60-second commentaries, man on the street interviews, still featuring in our Follow the Logic segment, interviews of those who attended Obama's farewell address with a particular lesson for Trump supporters about personality versus policy. It's all at upstream-ideas.com.
Here at HealthQuest, our high standard of health care doesn't come from a sickness care perspective, and neither should yours. And if you're not as healthy as you should be and you're sick and tired of those health challenges, please call us. As we say here at HealthQuest, don't just stand there, do something. Do something good for yourself. Just this one time. This is Dr. David Kobaba. If you're like me and my wonderful HealthQuest staff, well, we know how much you love helping others in this challenging world of ours. Now, if you could raise your level of health and wellness, well then you could be of greater service to those you know and love. What a great perspective, but you've got to put this intention into action. So just don't stand there. Do something. Call our HealthQuest radio hotline right now, 1-800-794-1855. Do it now for yourself and a better future with higher health. 1-800-794-1855.
Hi, this is Amy Jacobson, and I'm excited to tell you about Bert and Will Plastic Surgery and Laser Center. Childbearing, breastfeeding, weight gain, weight loss, or normal aging can cause a level of concern about our appearance. Oh, I know, and unfortunately, dieting, exercise, and healthy lifestyles aren't always enough. Dr. Bert offers the Mommy Makeover, including a tummy tuck and breast augmentation with the new memory-shaped implants. Dr. Will specializes in Botox, neck lifts, and many other procedures to uncover the beauty within. And now men and women can benefit from the great new NeoGraft hair transplant treatment that requires minimal downtime and no scarring. Doctors Bert and Will are female board-certified plastic surgeons. I've met them. I love them. I recommend you meet them too. You can receive a complimentary consultation at any of their Chicagoland offices or just register for a seminar. Call 630-930-3555 or visit uncovermybeauty.com. That's 630-930-3555 or uncovermybeauty.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy, talking about Trump's inaugural address. One of the things he said, a lot of the things he said on the campaign trail, including things that I don't particularly like, but I appreciate the angle of his speech, the aggressive posture towards the ruling class. And when he talked economics and implicitly trade policy, where I diverge with Donald Trump, but he said 2 simple rules will govern his regime.
We will follow 2 simple rules: buy American and hire American.
That was part of his America First riff, which was central to his inaugural address as well. Let's go to Will in Skokie. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, guys. I think this is just another instance of him talking over the heads of the media and over the heads of the other people in government. He's been doing that the whole campaign. I mean, he understands the people in the country heard a very different speech from the talking heads and the politicians. Yeah. And I mean, for MSNBC and the other people to sit there and take the America First, link that to Lindbergh, isolationism, and link that to Hitler and therefore anti-Semitism for a guy who's got Jewish grandchildren, that is mental gymnastics that, can win the Olympics.
Yes, they're very flexible, those media types.
They don't understand. They just don't understand. And I hope it keeps up because he's just going to undercut him. He's going to do what he says. And in Washington, that's like, what do you mean? You did what you say. That's not fair. You know what I mean?
And thanks for the call. Thanks for the call, Will. Appreciate it. Greg in Schaumburg.
I want to pick up exactly what the last caller just said, but I want to cover. He just talked about the media angle of it. When Trump looked up, and Peggy Noonan captured it so beautifully, looked at the audience, the people in front of him, and said, I'm connecting with you, in essence. And everybody that was on the other side of him didn't matter. Boy, that spoke volumes.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Greg. Appreciate that. Didn't mean to cut you off there. Nasty woman, Candace in DuPage County.
It's such a compliment. Okay.
Yes.
2 comments. Bruce Dumont last night said something. I never knew Harold Washington, but now I want to hear his speech compared to Trump. But he said it was very Harold Washington. Yeah. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Second thing, I thought it was like watching a Marvel comic with like the words boom.
Pow, kapow.
That was cool. Yeah. Okay, have a good morning.
Thanks, Candace. Ed in Oak Brook.
And you know what? I thought that speech was absolutely tremendous. He set a bar for himself so high that if you play sports, and Amy probably can identify with this, when you set a bar that high, you have to deliver because you know why? Everyone's going to laugh at you if you don't. And when he says America First, I think it was refreshing to the world because now they know America policy is this. And if they want to prosper, hook up a wagon and enjoy the ride instead of this wussiness that was out of this administration. Have a nice day.
Thanks for the call, Ed. Speaking of wussiness, we'll get to the Women's March right after the news.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Hey, last year's mild winter was nice. So far, though, we haven't been so lucky. Snowstorms, bitter cold, and it's only January. The price we pay for living here. So it's important to have a heating and cooling company you know you can depend on. That company is the original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling. They aren't one of those massive companies with newer technicians and subcontractors. Family owned and operated, Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling send only their own highly skilled technicians. From service to installation and everything in between, the work quality and customer service is the best. The original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling keeps homes and businesses comfy and warm. Call Carrie at 847-545-1700 or visit ArlingtonHeightsHeatingandCooling.com. That's Carrie at 847-545-1700 or online at arlingtonheightsheatingandcooling.com. Mention AM 560 and receive 20% off your first service call. The original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling, not the biggest, just the best.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Ashley Judd introduces us to the scissorhood of the traveling bloody jeans. Ew! At 5:38.
Oh, Dan. And then Donald Trump, yes, he did recognize and have a standing ovation for Hillary Clinton. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, 38 degrees outside, some light fog, and this morning we should see calm conditions as we start that commute. Jim Telemonte along in just a moment with that. We'll start in the south this morning. We're 20 are dead after a weekend of heavy rains, fierce winds, and flooding. Storms were especially deadly across the south. 20 others were hurt as tornadoes raked an area from Texas to North Carolina.
It is unfathomable what happened out there.
Chris Kochilas this morning, Commission Chairman in Georgia's Dougherty County. 4 were killed when a tornado roared through Hattiesburg, Mississippi. 14 were killed in Georgia. First Monday of President Trump's administration will be a busy one. Public schedule includes an intelligence briefing, separate meetings with corporate and union leaders, and a reception for other members of Congress, and then a private get-together with House Speaker Paul Ryan. President Trump's top advisor defending the White House press secretary for what she calls alternative facts about the inauguration.
For me, I think the most quantifiable points of interest for Americans should be what just happened a few months ago that brought him here.
Kellyanne Conway on NBC's Meet the Press. Meantime, White House Chief of Staff Reince Priebus saying there's an obsession with the media in Washington, D.C. to delegitimize the president. Police in Texas say at least one person is dead after a robbery went south at a mall. Police and 6 others were hurt after 2 suspects tried to rob Kay Jewelers in the Rolling Oak Mall in a suburb of San Antonio. United Airlines say domestic flights are on the move again, grounded overnight because of a computer glitch. Organizers estimate around 250,000 took part in the Women's March Saturday in Chicago. No arrests reported, but hundreds of thousands of dollars of debris and trash were left behind. Illinois lawmakers set to get an earful on taxes and pensions and debt at the state capitol as lawmakers return for the first time since a perfunctory day after they took the oath of office earlier this month. Jonathan Toews, the tiebreaker late in the third, and the Blackhawks go on to beat Vancouver 4-2. NCAA basketball, Northwestern a winner over Ohio State 74-72. The news service of Connect Better. When you connect better, everything comes together. Join the more than 3 million who use GoToMeeting every month to connect with their team. Try free at GoToMeeting.com. 5:33 is our time. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher has a message for a Trump critic.
I don't see this president-elect as a legitimate president.
Georgia Congressman John Lewis, I say this with all the respect in my heart that I have for his life and his legacy and his sacrifices. You don't get a pass, Congressman Lewis, and you're going to kick Donald Trump in the shins. He's going to kick you back.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Everyone craves the comfort of a good night's sleep. That's why Serta Perfect Sleeper Mattress helps solve 5 common sleep problems. You'll be so comfortable, you'll never count sheep again.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. I went from being able to work 14, 16 hours a day with no problem to where I could barely walk a block to the store. I went on to the phytonutrients about 6 months ago, and within a couple of months, my medical doctor had cut my prescriptions down in a little bit smaller dosage. The next time I went back a month later, I walked into the doctor's office and he says, "My gosh, what's happened to you? You don't even look like the same person." He looked at my legs and the swelling had gone down. My blood pressure was down. The venous stasis ulcers that I had had on my legs for the last 4 or 5 years because of the poor circulation were all healed, and I'm feeling far better.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751. or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Chuck Spaveri, CEO of Spaveri's Custom Counters, a Chicagoland manufacturer of residential and commercial countertops. If there's a local commercial bank who knows how to get a deal done, it's Signature Bank. When my brother and I needed it, Signature Bank came through with a creative financing solution. That's because Signature Bank has experience working with companies like ours, a second-generation, family-owned and operated manufacturer. Our business matters to Signature Bank, and that comes through in every visit and every phone call with their team, right up to the bank's co-founders, Kevin, Mick, and Brian. Spaveri's is proud to bank with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
5:36. Let's get an update on the roads this early morning in our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's AM 560's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Traffic is getting heavier on the inbound Stevenson House. Delays from Cicero to Pulaski and State to Lakeshore Drive. It's about 37 minutes, 3:55 to the drive. How about 34? Line is scattered delays. 17 minutes, 90-50 downtown, but heavier in the express lanes. Outbound, there is still road work. 87th split, the two left lanes. Bishop Ford, I got a delay starting around Cottage Grove. 18 minutes, 80-94 to the right. Eden's Kennedy still good. Eisenhower just a little heavy past Manheim. The tollways are fine. Traffic is a service of Staples. Resolved to get organized this year. Staples has low prices on everything your business needs to be organized this year, like banker's boxes, file folders, and storage bins. Go to staples.com/coupons for your 20% off select supplies coupon. Ends 1/29. Restrictions may apply. Staples, make more happen. Traffic answers when you need them most. Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
The news, a service of TrueCar. Using TrueCar, you can easily find the car you want. TrueCar users save an average of over $3,000 off MSRP. When you're ready to buy a new or used car, visit TrueCar to enjoy a more confident car buying experience. Cloudy in your forecast. 44 today, partly cloudy and 33 overnight. 37 at O'Hare. Next news at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So, big turnouts for the women's P marches throughout the country and across the globe.
Why do you call them P marches?
Well, I think you know why.
I know. They're wearing the pink hats.
Yes, that's what they are. It's real. I can't, something to share with their daughters someday. Hey, look at how Mommy presented herself.
Well, look at the signs that they were holding near children that were so grotesque we can't even read them because of FCC rules. Read them on air, but there's kids right next to them.
The big turnout, though, the big turnouts for all these marches paled in comparison to the 30 million women who marched to their polling places on November 8th and voted Trump. Just remember that.
I love that meme.
Yeah, there's a lot of
memes.
The great thing
on.
about these marches is we live in the era of social media, and so number one, this is just an instant meme generator. But number two, all of these individuals out themselves. I want to see more pictures and more signs. I want this to be as publicized as it can possibly be publicized. Post your favorite pictures so they can be shared. All the signs, all the women. It's good stuff. One of the pictures I enjoyed was a woman exposing her belly. She's pregnant. My baby is pro-choice. Now, the irony of that statement completely lost on her, but I appreciate that she's conceding the unborn life in her womb is a baby and therefore worthy of legal protection. But that they're oblivious to it. That's what I love. I love seeing the ignorance and the vulgarity on display so everybody out there can see some of these people they know, and within their social circles, the people that you work with or the people that you've
called friends your whole life,
or the people that you've called friends all your life, or the people that your kids are in school with, you can see them and know exactly how barbaric they are.
Well,
yeah.
no,
that's
this
the
is
word.
difficult because Ooh, a lot of people I knew were there and were on Facebook, and I didn't like what they were saying. You know, they're going to take back. My favorite was the hashtag "Watch Your Back, Donald Trump." Ooh, and I asked them, what's your message? Why are you going? I've tried to be very diplomatic about this. I want to always hear the other side of a story. Sometimes there's three sides of a story. Why are you going? And they told me that it's a warning to Trump that they don't want to lose any rights during his administration.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Your favorite nonsense from the march, your favorite picture, your favorite moments of the speechifying, because consistent with your friends there, and I don't know if they were among the 230 protesters arrested. I hope they were, because those protesters are facing felony rioting charges, 10-year, $25,000 fine.
Dan.
Right,
but those no, we have to separate the facts. This is the truth. Those people that were arrested were on Friday, which were not part of the Women's March on Saturday.
No,
at the Women's March in D.C. on Saturday, no one was arrested.
No, I didn't say they were. I said I hope they were. I hope some of your friends were also there on Friday and got arrested.
Not. They didn't break the Starbucks window or the PNC Bank one down here. 16 people were arrested in Chicago Friday night. Those were anarchists. That's not democracy. That was chaos.
Oh,
and then there was peaceful marches on Saturday.
And so
as crazy as you might think these women are, they are not violent, and no one was arrested here in Chicago or in D.C.
They're delicate little flowers.
No, they're mad at the language that Trump has used. I understand why they were marching.
Sorry, they're mad at the language Trump has used. So
to describe women in the past.
Excuse me. Their response to vulgarity is to go under Donald Trump. They say we go high when they go low. No, they don't. This is a race to the bottom of vulgarity. They're as vulgar as you can be, and all you have to do is listen to what they were cheering, in addition to looking at the placards they were waving around and the garb they were outfitted in.
Sad.
It's vulgar.
Well, it's nasty. I mean, even when they landed in Baltimore, the flight attendant was encouraging nasty behavior.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived in Baltimore. I just want to know how many of you are going to the March on Washington?
Plane fills of women.
Yeah.
You guys are going to the Women's March, right? Yeah! Let's get a round of applause for all the nasty women on board.
Yeah.
They're celebrating nastiness, but now they've taken that and that's their mantra. They're proud of that label, Dan.
I hope I meet that flight attendant on my next Southwest flight. In addition to that, and I'm going to say something the next time I fly Southwest, just as I'm going to say something next time I go to Bandera Grill downtown. I had a friend. She was there with a client of hers for lunch on Friday. She asked Bandera Grill on Michigan Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
Best prime rib beef sandwich in the city, by the way. She was there with a friend, asked them to turn on the inauguration on TV. They said they wouldn't because it's too controversial. The inauguration of a president of the United States, too controversial. So keep doing it. Keep doing it, Southwest stewardess. Keep doing it, Bandera bartender. Keep doing it, all of the P women marching. Keep doing it, all the anarchists who destroyed Starbucks and Banks of America. By the way, Starbucks, $80,000. Starbucks employees, $80,000 to Hillary. Bank of America, almost $500,000 to Hillary. I mean, this is the ignorance is great.
Well,
it's
some protesters were mad when they threw a block. I don't know if you saw the cutaway shots. Like, Starbucks, we go to Starbucks. Don't ruin our Starbucks.
Yeah, well, here's what they were responding to. All of those informed women who are so concerned about, I don't know what, it's not clear at all. There's nothing that could be discerned with any cogency from these marches and these screeches and these chants. But let's try and put some form to it. And who better to give us form for this function than Madonna, the material girl herself.
Welcome to the revolution of love, to the rebellion, to our refusal as women to accept this new age of tyranny, where not just women are in danger, but all marginalized people, where being uniquely different right now might truly be considered a crime.
How's that? Oh, I'm sorry. She's not taking questions. Then she went on to offer a message to the detractors, those who say that this march won't amount to a hill of beans.
And to our detractors that insist that this march will never add up to anything? You.
Yeah, it's compelling. I never thought about it that way.
And then she dropped the F-bomb again. But then within the same breath, she started chanting, "We choose love, we choose love."
Right.
Right after she dropped the F-bomb.
Well,
because that's classy. And she was a late addition. Nobody knew she was coming. So it was, she thought she was high and mighty. Like, I'm going to be here so more people are going to show up.
And that revolution of love includes contemplating, but deciding against doing this.
Yes, I'm angry. Yes, I am outraged. Yes, I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a crime there.
She's thought about it.
She's thought about it.
She's just thinking. She's thinking out loud. So, I mean, I want to hear more from Madonna, just like I want to hear more from Pocahontas Sacagawea, just like I want to hear more from Comrade Bernie. These are the leading lights of the left. And I can't get enough of them. We need to amplify their positions, their viewpoints. These are very important, and they couldn't do a better job of marginalizing the left than anything the right could dream up. So keep talking.
Did you hear the song she sang?
Keep talking.
Donald Trump, blank my blank. I mean,
it's very catchy. Is that going to be on her new album?
Well, that's after she said she wasn't going to name his name ever, say it. Then she said his name in a song.
Mel and Mount Prospect, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call. What I liked was the pink caps, and they used the word, they quoted right from Trump what they were, but then they changed it to genital head coverings, and I couldn't believe that. But the point of the whole thing, I've never seen such an outflow of people. I don't know if they voted or not. I've never seen anything quite like that. And it's all due to one man. It's all due to Trump. So we'll see what happens.
Thanks for the call, Mel. Thanks, appreciate it.
They didn't seem to mind when Bill Clinton was having inappropriate sexual relations with his college intern. Where was the outrage then?
There's a great.
I mean, there's outrage about Trump.
Oh, this is the.
Like they're being sexually oppressed. Am I being oppressed? Am I missing something here, Dan?
You're looking for intellectual consistency from the left. You're just never going to get it. There's a great piece, if you want a great piece on substance, from Katie Hopkins in the Daily Mail, who was there for the Women's March in D.C. She writes, Madonna popped up, her eyes inching ever closer to her ears. Great. To let us know Good did not win this election. I didn't even know Good was a candidate. We are women, and you are we, and we are you, said one woman, gesturing to make her point clear. It wasn't, but the crowd loved it all the same. Ms. Hopkins goes on to make a couple of important points. To be fair, I have not heard of the silencing of females or women playing dead in Trump's 100-day plan. Perhaps a more suitable venue for the speech would be outside the Saudi embassy, where the silencing of women is all the rage. I took it she went on to write, they will not be silenced, that's clear, the women at the march, but they don't know what it is they're shouting about. Anger is not enough. It's an army lacking a common purpose, lacking a common cause, every one of them wielding a placard for a different grudge they bear, many unable to give a coherent reason for being there, most at odds with the placards they carried, many across a women didn't win, but simply being a woman isn't enough. This was a march defined by gender, not purpose, much like Clinton's campaign, and a march where the meaningless drivel of the speakers was matched by the lack of a clear aim of those marching. They will not be silenced, but they don't know what they're shouting about. Anger is not enough. You win if you offer a clear vision supported by the strength to get things done, not just because you are a woman.
And if anyone listening went to those marches, either the one here in Chicago or the one in D.C., we will take your call at any time.
Absolutely.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Today it's going to be mostly cloudy, mild, though, a high of 44, nothing like we had on Saturday. That was a fantastic day. Dan got to play golf, too. And then tomorrow we're going to have mostly cloudy skies yet again. Same temperature, around 42, 43 degrees. Now let's go into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Amy. Good morning. We're seeing some heavy traffic approaching O'Hare now on westbound 190 from the Kennedy to the Tri-State. The Kennedy has slight delays in each direction. 22 minutes O'Hare to downtown, up on 21. All clear on the Edens. The Eisenhower, it's 2 minutes worth of delay starting around 17th Avenue. Stevenson now 38 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. The Rhine is 18 minutes, 95th to downtown. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Hey, do you find yourself saying, if only I had more leads or if I only had more prospects to sell to? Well, if that sounds familiar, then let me tell you about the Sales Prospecting Group. The Sales Prospecting Group is ready to help you take your business to the next level. They're a local Chicagoland company that has helped hundreds of companies nationwide to secure new business by getting them in the door. The Sales Prospecting Group will get your appointments with qualified prospects to help grow your business. Now, they don't use contract labor or offshore callers. Their in-house staff of business accountant executives are highly trained professionals and effective. The Sales Prospecting Group will build a custom campaign specifically for your business. They know how to navigate complex corporate hierarchies to get you to the right people and get you connected with them. And they specialize exclusively on B2B sales. So call the Sales Prospecting Group now to learn how they can help your business grow in 2017. That number to call, 630-701-9052. That's 630-701-9052. The Sales Prospecting Group, it is time to grow.
Continental Audi of Naperville works every day to satisfy their customers. With our VIP loyalty program and concierge service loaners, we strive to make the buying experience exceptional. Every day, we provide more than just a great deal on a new Audi. During our January sales event, Continental Audi will make your first payment on a new 2017 A4. Plus, you may qualify for $500 to $2,000 in bonus cash. Continental Audi has over 170 new Audis to choose from. Audi A3, A4, A5, A6, Audi Q3, Q5, and Q7. Audi is the top pick by Consumer Reports, with all our models being recommended. Drive an Audi and feel the difference in your driving experience. Drive an Audi from Continental and know the difference in an exceptional dealership. Come in today during the January sales event, and Continental will make your first payment on a new 2017 A4. Continental Audi of Naperville. ContinentalAudi.com. Up to $800 on select models. See dealer for full details.
My name is David Hochberg, and I'm Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, give me a call. Tom, Chicago firefighter, called to refinance his $400,000, 5% non-reaffirmed mortgage. Until recently, Tom's only option would have been to pay down his loan over $35,000 and secure a FHA loan. I have outstanding news. My team can now refinance homeowners discharged at least 4 years from a Chapter 7 bankruptcy into a conventional loan instead of an FHA loan. This is a huge game changer for borrowers looking to refinance their non-reaffirmed mortgages after a Chapter 7. If you like to refinance out of your non-reaffirmed mortgage with a ridiculously high rate, like Tom did, give me a call now at 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. I've helped thousands of AM560 listeners, but I can't help if you don't call 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage and Equal Housing Lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage License 4358, RMLA, NMLS 19186.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity. If we've learned one thing from Obama, speechifying doesn't bring the country together, create jobs, or reverse barbaric cultural trends. And so Trump's unity signaling inaugural address was quickly followed by a protest march of grumpy old women and their wives, to which Susan B. Anthony would not have been welcome. If we've learned one thing from the confirmation hearings of Trump cabinet nominees, the ungracious vituperative left plans to scold, shame, and bigot bait its way back to power. Comrade Bernie insinuated that Betsy DeVos was too rich to be education secretary, whereas he resisted such class envy politics when billionaires Penny Pritzker was up to be Obama's commerce secretary. Massachusetts Senator Pocahontas Crockett-Jewia was so insulted by DeVos's commitment to educating poor minority children that she waved off an attempted handshake so she could rush over to harangue Dr. Tom Price at his confirmation hearing. Speaking of Price, Comrade Bernie used his allotted time with the incoming HH secretary to explain that America lacks the compassion of Brunei because the government hasn't formally nationalized the health insurance industry. And these are the leading lights of the left. If that remains the case, it's lights out for the Democrats.
A storm is on the horizon, and you need to keep the lights on no matter what. Your business relies on the power being on 24/7. It's the lifeblood of your data and computer systems. Weather-related outages from the power company are not acceptable. Your need for a source of power that's reliable 24/7, along with round-the-clock service that can dispatch technicians to your site immediately, is mission critical. Your business needs Charles Equipment Energy Systems on speed dial. These are the big boys, not residential or solar, but reliable industrial generators for emergency backup or events. When you need more than a 100-foot extension cord plugged into a small engine generator, call Charles Equipment Energy Systems. They keep the lights on with rental generators for job sites or power outages. Stay warm this winter. Plan ahead. Call now to prepare generators for winter storms and potential power outages. Call 630-834-6000. That's 630-834-6000 or charlesequipment.com. charlesequipment.com.
Your company's critical projects involve improving processes, evolving business models, launching products, and realizing strategic imperatives. Integrated Project Management's core competency is execution, using process, leadership, and discipline to assure successful, sustainable results. Since 1988, IPM has led nearly 4,000 initiatives alongside our clients in a structured, engaging, and respectful manner. IPM's 7 nationwide offices employ consultants who excel at providing project management consulting to America's most successful firms. Their outstanding leaders transform strategy into reality, providing clients with a competitive advantage. IPM has been recognized as a top small and medium workplace and great workplace in consulting and professional services by Fortune magazine and one of the 25 best small companies by Forbes magazine. When your company needs help executing critical projects, visit IPMCinc.com or call Integrated Project Management's Chicago office at 630-789-8600. That's IPMCinc.com. Nothing matters if you can't execute.
I was diagnosed diabetic, but I was in denial.
It just seemed like I just couldn't lose weight.
I developed high blood pressure.
My digestion was really messed up.
Sound familiar? Hi, I'm Dennis Black in Dallas, Texas. Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Wouldn't you rather be healthy, energetic, and fit? Well, it's long been established that good nutrition is a major factor in good health. But in this day and age, it's hard to eat right. That's why I created Texas Superfood.
I feel great, I look great, sex drive's better, everything's better.
Texas Superfood is made from 55 raw, vine-ripened fruits and vegetables. In a capsule or a powder, you can see them all at TexasSuperfood.com.
It's borderline shocking how much energy I have.
To order, go to TexasSuperfood.com or call us at 877-55-TEXAS. That's 877-55-TEXAS. It's TexasSuperfood.com and the number 877-55-TEXAS.
Visit TexasSuperfood.com. I hope you use me for the TexasSuperfood.com.
Checking traffic on AM 560. The answer from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. The Kennedy has scattered delays now. 22 minutes O'Hare to downtown, outbound 25. Eisenhower, 32 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, outbound 5 at 29. Stevenson, now 42 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan, 19 minutes, 90-50 to downtown. Bishop Ford with a 5-minute delay approaching the Ryan. And traffic is a service of Office Depot Office Max. For a limited time, at Office Depot Office Max, save 20% on office supplies. Visit OfficeDepot.com/radio to get your 20% off coupon. Office Depot Office Max, gear up for great. Ends 128. Excludes technology, toner, and ink. See coupon for other restrictions. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Here's meteorologist Michael Stack.
Mostly cloudy skies seen all around the area. Today's high 44. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, low 34. Mostly cloudy Tuesday, high 43. Considerably cloudy skies with a rain or snow shower in spots Wednesday, high 43. I'm Michael Stack on AM 560, The Answer.
37 at O'Hare, 38 along the lakefront. The news, a service of LifeLock. Grabbing coffee or breakfast? You swipe your card, you'll leave a trail of digital information thieves can use to steal your identity. Ever hear of LifeLock? Go to LifeLock.com now. Use promo code RISK to save 10%. At 5:59, here are the stories we're following on AM 560. The Answer. United Airlines says domestic flights are on the move again after being grounded late Sunday because of a computer problem. Authorities say 2 men have survived a fall through the ice on a lake in Lake County, where sheriff's office say the men were leaving the ice after fishing Sunday on Channel Lake when they went through. Illinois lawmakers will get an earful about the state that is Illinois this week as they head back to the Capitol. The governor is set for his State of the State speech on Wednesday. Chicago sports, Blackhawks over Vancouver 4-2, and Northwestern a winner in Big Ten hoops over Ohio State. Mostly cloudy day ahead in your forecast and a partly cloudy night ahead. WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
Fox
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. It's a rough Monday morning in parts of the South dealing with
destruction all over the place.
And he's in Georgia, where weekend storms hit the hardest. Fox's Tanya J. Powers has more live.
At least 18 people have been killed in 2 days of storms that hit the southeast. 7 dead in one South Georgia mobile home park alone, where roughly half of the 40 homes were leveled. The National Weather Service says at least 39 possible tornadoes were reported across the South from early Saturday into Sunday evening. The majority of those in Georgia, where LaToya Darity lives.
My baby boys was like, Mama, we got to get in shelter. We got to get in shelter. I told him, son, just stop and pray, and God going to send us through.
4 deaths were reported in Mississippi, Dave.
Tanya, there's been flooding in Southern California, and there are warnings of more to come, especially in wildfire-scarred areas where there are evacuations. Some people needed fast water rescues. 2 people are in custody in San Antonio facing murder charges after a jewelry store robbery in a mall yesterday.
I just turned around. I just started telling the customers, just run, gunshots, run.
A Good Samaritan tried to stop the robbers and was shot and killed. Another man pulled out a gun he was licensed to carry and shot and wounded one of the suspects critically. 4 others were also hurt. President Trump was up early tweeting, saying he has a busy week ahead with a heavy focus on jobs and national security. The president will talk to business and union leaders this morning on manufacturing, and he'll sit down later with congressional leaders.
We will prove worthy of this moment in history.
That was the president at the swearing in for his senior staff yesterday at the Senate.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says he is optimistic that every nominee will be approved to serve on President Donald Trump's cabinet. Now, today, the Senate expects to focus on the president's pick for CIA Director, Republican Congressman Mike Pompeo, and Secretary of State pick Rex Tillerson.
That's Fox's Kelly Wright. This is Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
A new era has started in America, and with it, a new attitude, outlook, and feeling of purpose.
It's going to be only America first.
Can President Trump deliver on his promises from the campaign? And will the Democrats come around and get on board, or just be a roadblock? One thing's for sure, it'll be interesting, and you can follow it all right here. AM 560, The Answer.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and guess that you're probably driving right now. Sitting comfortably behind the wheel with a tasty caffeinated beverage in your cup holder. Well, if you were driving with Uber, you could be earning money right now too. That's because Uber is the ultimate side hustle. Extra cash whenever you want. Earning you can turn on and off, just like your car. This isn't just another job, it's a totally flexible way to earn. So go ahead, get your side hustle on. Visit uber.com/drive now. That's uber.com/drive now.
How do you become America's best-selling brand? Test drive a Ford Escape and find out. With available EcoBoost power and a host of class-exclusive features designed to make life better. Compare Ford Escape next to a Toyota RAV4 or Honda CR-V, and the reasons start to stack up. The 2017 Escape. That's Ford. And that's how you become America's best-selling brand. Sales claim based on 2016 calendar year sales.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Ayn Rand Institute and the Yaron Brook Show. Heard Saturday afternoons at 4 here on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Your reviews of Trump's inaugural address and, frankly, his remarks before the CIA Memorial Wall after his inaugural address, which we'll get to as well. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 646-360-A, turnkey.pro text line. Amy, for all the criticism of Trump for having an aggressive inaugural address, he did strike notes of unity throughout, kind of both at the beginning and at the end, bookended the speech with them. For example,
please give me an example.
This.
When you open your heart to patriotism, there is no room for prejudice. The Bible tells us how good and pleasant it is when God's people live together in unity. We must speak our minds openly, debate our disagreements honestly, but always pursue solidarity. When America is united, America is totally unstoppable.
Yeah, how about that?
That was nice. I mean, I felt like it was a nuanced version of one of his campaign speeches. It really was.
Certainly parts of it were.
Oh, yeah. And when he talked about, the people are going to take back this government and that he's here for you, that the government belongs to the people. I mean, he said that several times, and I thought it was effective.
January 20th, 2017 will be remembered as the day the people became the rulers of this nation again. The forgotten men and women of our country will be forgotten no longer.
Yeah, the forgotten man theme throughout, and the whole kind of antipathy toward the political ruling class, that a new day has dawned where we don't exist to serve and enrich them. They serve to advance our interests, everybody on this dais, myself included. So, yes, it's populism. It's independence from both political parties, as he made clear at the outset, saying this.
Today's ceremony, however, has very special meaning because today, not merely transferring power from one administration to another or from one party to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people.
And that's what John Cass picked up on in his Tribune piece over the weekend, too, this forgotten man, to borrow from a great Amity Shlaes book, the forgotten man and woman in this country that forgotten no more. There's another good piece just for reference material. Selena Zito in New York Post talks about that, too, how Trump made small-town America matter again and how small-town America was the lever he used to win those Great Lakes states that put him in the White House.
And I couldn't help but think of Chicago when there was another part of his speech when he talked about the American carnage ends now. And I kept thinking of the 700-plus people who were murdered in Chicago last year.
Mothers and children trapped in poverty in our inner cities. Rusted out factories scattered like tombstones across the landscape. This American carnage stops right here and stops right now.
If you watch it live, then they did a cutaway shot to President Obama, and he had his eyes closed, and he was kind of rocking his chair.
Yeah, there were moments like that where they did the cutaways to different political panjandrums, including President Obama, where they were not applauding as the crowd was applauding, because he's going after the people that have been in power and who have left the country in the state that it's in, and who, frankly, through their policy choices, provided the environment for the revolt that Donald Trump is the vessel for. And so I thought the idea of continuing on the frontal assault against the political ruling class was totally appropriate. I know that, American carnage and talking about things that are
really happening.
Well, that are suboptimal, but it is the reality on the ground. I thought that's why Trump is in the White House. It's because of his authenticity. I mean, you can argue, suggest that he's got a little populist demagogue in him, and that's not unfounded. But what he's describing is real, and if you live in or near or pay attention in an urban center or pay attention to what's going on in places like Chicago, then you know it's real.
Yeah,
you
the
know what he's talking
Democratic
about
policies have failed. A lot of the people in America, and a lot of people that haven't voted for decades, that got out to vote for Donald Trump.
This piece in the Washington Post over the weekend. Washington Post. Jeff Bezos' publication by Emma Brown, who writes on education issues for WAPO. Obama administration spent billions to fix failing schools, and it didn't work. Didn't work. She goes on to, go through the quote-unquote race to the top grants and all the rest of it. I mean, not that anybody should think that the Department of Education can solve the problem with K through 12 school systems across the nation from D.C., because it can't. And that's the whole point. It's a difference in philosophy. Betsy DeVos hopefully, and I think this is her disposition, drop ship federal money for scholarship programs at the local level, because K through 12 is fundamentally a state and local issue. But that's not the posture that Obama and his toadies like Arnie Duncan took. She writes, does Ms. Brown, test scores, graduation rates, college enrollment, no different in schools that receive money through the school improvement grants that the DOE distributed, the largest federal investment ever targeted to failing schools, than in schools that did not. No difference. The money made no difference. Are you hearing that, Chicago? Continuing to pour money into systems that don't work made no difference, because the left's philosophy is to fund bureaucracies, and conservatives, small c conservatives' philosophy is to invest in human beings, individuals, and let them choose their own course. Because the parent, the guardian, frankly, in some cases, even the child knows better their path than does some faraway bureaucracy in D.C. or faraway bureaucracy in Springfield or centralized command control structure like the Chicago public school system. Made no difference, did the money. That's what Trump is talking about. And that's why the revolt. That's why it's happening. So I thought Trump's inaugural speech was, even the parts I disagree with, some of his America First protectionist rhetoric, which I disagree with. But that's who he was during the campaign. That's who he continues to be. So if he is going to be exactly what he advertised he's going to be, then I can live with it, because no surprises. No surprises. And by the way, started out in earnest on Friday. The official White House website dropped any message of climate change. The closest thing on topic is the posting of the America First Energy Plan. You don't think this matters? The language matters? Climate change out, America First Energy Plan in on the White House website. Also, the White House website eliminated the kind of any of the Black Lives Matter type rhetoric and put up a standing up for our law enforcement community page. The page denounced the anti-police atmosphere in America ushered in by Obama, the new page on the official White House website. So times they are changing. Of course, we should mention General Mattis confirmed 98-1 as Secretary of Defense. Only Kristen Gillibrand, the senator from New York, voted against him. Also, General John Kelly confirmed as Secretary of Homeland Security. So his security team coming into focus.
And today, Rex Tillerson will be confirmed, and CIA Director
Mike Pompeo. Yeah.
Yep.
Also, a couple executive orders on Friday and many, many more today. The one that garnered the most attention was the executive order to kind of roll back Obamacare. Now, it's very general, but it directs the HHS secretary, of course, Dr. Tom Price, not confirmed yet, but he will be, to waive, defer, grant exemptions from, or delay the implementation of any provision or requirement of Obamacare that would impose a fiscal burden on any state or a cost, fee, tax, penalty, regulatory burden on individuals, families, blah, blah, blah. So it's just beginning to empower the HHS secretary to roll back the regulations promulgated by HHS to impose Obamacare. It's just the beginning, but it's real and it's happening. So that's some of the work that was done on Friday. But I want to also capture Trump. After he gave his inaugural address, he went to CIA.
Yeah, on Saturday.
Right, and he spoke before the CIA Memorial Wall. And he started out fairly well, and
it started out well.
And
there were 400 agents there, but you couldn't see their faces because they're CIA agents.
And another, according to who was it that I was here? There were another 1,000 or so that wanted to attend that couldn't. So Trump said, I'll come back because of space limitations. There was enthusiasm there, and you heard the enthusiasm from the crowd responding to some of his lines, including this one.
I want to just let you know I am so behind you, and I know maybe sometimes you haven't gotten the backing that you've wanted, and you're going to get so much backing. Maybe you're going to say, please don't give us so much backing. Mr. President, please, we don't need that much backing.
The CIA is going to get tired of the president's backing like we're going to get tired of winning. Just vintage Trump.
Yeah.
That's entertaining.
Yeah, but then he slammed the media for creating this bad blood between President Trump and the CIA.
Well, and
which was a little off.
Actually, worse than that. I agree with that.
Completely wrong?
But worse than that was him using that forum and the backdrop of the CIA memorial wall, these agents whose names, we'll never know, killed serving our country. And he used that to whine about media coverage of the crowd size. We've gone from arguing about the size of his hands to the size of his crowds.
Well, does size matter, Dan?
It does to Donald Trump, and he had this to say.
We did a thing yesterday, the speech. Did everybody like the speech? You had to like it. Right? So I've been given good reviews. But we had a massive field of people. You saw that. Packed. I get up this morning, I turn on one of the networks, and they show an empty field. I said, wait a minute. I made a speech. I looked out. The field it looked like 1.5 million people. They showed a field where there were practically nobody standing there. And they said, Donald Trump did not draw well. I said, it was almost raining. The rain should have scared him away, but God looked down and he said, we're not going to let it rain on your speech.
And that is so false because if you watched it, like millions of us did, it started raining as soon as he was being sworn in, and during his speech, it was drizzling out.
Well, that's an ancillary issue. I mean,
it's just about the facts, and sometimes facts are paramount. But
yeah, the
coming out of the mouth of the president,
the timing of the rain. The more is this is vintage Trump complaining about ratings and crowd size, but I thought it was gauche to do so in front of the CIA memorial wall. John Brennan, the outgoing CIA director, issued a statement saying that he was deeply saddened and angered at Trump's despicable display of self-aggrandizement in front of the CIA's memorial wall of agency heroes. Brennan says that Trump should be ashamed of himself. I'm no fan of John Brennan, but I don't disagree with that statement. The only thing I'll say about that, and I'll take response to it, 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. This is what you're going to get with Trump. I mean, it's going to be a mixed bag. This is the stuff that he likes to talk about. Now, maybe...
himself?
Well, yes. And, ratings and how popular he is and how successful he is and how we're winning.
Yeah, he tweeted out about ratings that he had 11 million more viewers than than Obama had in 2012.
Yeah, well, it was a ratings bonanza. I think I don't remember what it is, but I think it's the second, according to Nielsen, was the second most watched inaugural in the last 30 years or something like that. But the issue...
everywhere but Bandera.
Well, Bandera Grill, they wouldn't put it on, that's right. But here's the thing about... this may not even be a conscious strategy, but when Trump obsesses about these irrelevancies, and I really think they're irrelevancies, I mean, it almost serves his purpose because then he and Sean Spicer get into a spat with the D.C. press corps, who couldn't have a lower standing in the minds of the body politic, and particularly, the body politic that put Trump in the White House. And while he's creating this distraction and debate over this non-issue over here, oh, by the way, we're moving an agenda over here. So I wonder if he isn't, self-obsessed like a fox with some of the issues he chooses to raise, particularly as it pertains to, how he's covered and how many people are watching and what a ratings monster he is and all of the things that we've heard for the last year and a half. It's just interesting to me. I'm not saying it's conscious. I don't think it is. But the reaction from the D.C. press corps, as per that Harvard Business Review piece I referenced last week that we discussed, where the way the media goes after him just serves to reinforce his brand, the cumulative advantage. It's a B-school word, but the point is this. All the media does by attacking him on these issues is reinforce that he's the politically incorrect, successful outsider, and they're part of the defense of the politically correct, failed ruling class insiders. And as long as they're furthering that construct, they're furthering Donald Trump's political interests and, by extension, policy interests.
Why does he let crowd size get under his skin? I mean, yes, more people were at the Women's March on Washington, D.C. than were at the inauguration. And he cannot stomach that. So he sends out his White House press secretary, first day on the job, and he gets out there and blasts reporters, and you can hear reporters laughing in the background.
This was the first time in our nation's history that floor coverings have been used to protect the grass in the mall. That had the effect of highlighting any areas where people were not standing, while in years past, the grass eliminated this visual. This was also the first time that fencing and magnetometers went as far back on the wall, preventing hundreds of thousands of people from being able to access the mall as quickly as they had in inaugurations past. Inaccurate numbers involving crowd size were also tweeted. No one had numbers.
Sean Spicer may be the perfect press secretary for Donald Trump, because there's a little blurb in the New York Times over the weekend that goes back to Spicer when he went to when he was at Connecticut College and he was on the student government there, and the newspaper on campus referred to him as Sean Sphincter, and apparently he got apoplectic about that and was not satisfied by the correction that the paper issued. So
but he was clearly reading what Donald Trump told him to say, and then he didn't take questions. And hey, buddy, hey, Sean Spicer, you're the press secretary. You're not the president. Your job is to take questions from the media.
Yeah, well, he gets to determine, and so does the administration. He gets to determine when he takes questions and when he doesn't. I'm sure he will.
Another shot at it today at 1:30.
Spicer also sent this shot across the bow of the D.C. press corps.
There's been a lot of talk in the media about the responsibility to hold Donald Trump accountable. And I'm here to tell you that it goes two ways. We're going to hold the press accountable as well.
We'll take your calls on all of the above right after this.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
And they did use those white floor coverings in 2013 when Obama was sworn in a second time. Today, mostly cloudy, a high of 44 degrees. And then tomorrow, mostly cloudy again. About the same temperature, around 42 degrees. Let's get the latest in our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. There's a new banner over the door. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. It looks great. Good morning. Good morning, Dan. The Edens inbound delays start before Toohey. 22 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound fine at 19. Kennedy, at 26 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 32. The Eisenhower. 38 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, outbound 31. Stevenson, 43 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound still good. The Ryan, 22 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 17 minutes, I-80 to the Merge, Bishop Ford, 23. Westbound Tri-State heavy at 290. The other tollways are fine. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
If you own a business, you'll do everything you can to keep the lights on. The thing is, keeping those lights on can be much more cost-effective than you ever imagined. And Twin Supplies can help. Twin Supplies specializes in helping businesses, public entities, and nonprofits get energy efficient with their lighting and take advantage of incentives from utility companies to help with energy improvement costs. From restaurants to schools, churches, and stadiums, they'll walk you through every step to realize maximum money savings and energy efficiency. Your maintenance staff will spend less time changing bulbs with worry-free fixtures that feature up to a 10-year warranty. Plus, the quality of your lighting will improve, resulting in improved working conditions and safety. Find out how much your commercial business can save with a free energy audit from Twin Supplies. Utility companies change their incentives frequently and funds can run out. Now is the time to take action. Don't wait. Call 630-590-5138 or log on to twinsupplies.net and take charge of your business's energy efficiency. Twinsupplies.net.
Hey Pete, 20 more pallets backing up right now. Come over here with the forklift. Don't bring them in here, man. We've got no place to put them, and we're officially out of room, buddy.
JRC Warehousing.
Well, we're getting 20 pallets dumped right here whether we like it or not. Well, unless they get stored in your living room, I don't know what to tell you.
JRC Warehousing.
It says right here in our inventory system that we have room for 50. And you're going to trust the control system that's older than my great-grandparents?
JRC Warehousing.
We can't be the only place that's run a storage room before, man. Think. Yeah, how about I go buy one of those magic wands for you? Good luck.
JRC Warehousing offers complete solutions for your warehouse and trucking demands. No magic wands needed. Trucking requirements? No problem. Warehouse storage? No problem. Pull a rabbit out of your hat by calling JRC Warehousing for a no-obligation needs analysis and quote. 847-329-5030. That's 847-329-5030. Or visit jrcwarehousing.com.
You're never too old to learn something new, especially when it concerns your golden years. Join North Shore Capital Group at their retirement educational classes held at local colleges in your community. Each class is an interactive workshop that's held over 2 sessions and includes a workbook for you to keep and follow. Instructor Victor Rigoni will provide you with the tools and guidance to help you reach your personal finance retirement goals. At the end of the full class, you'll receive an opportunity to book an independent, complimentary consultation so that you can implement a proper retirement strategy. It's never too late to educate yourself about retirement. Call North Shore Capital Group, 312-260-7929. That's 312-260-7929 to find a workshop near you. North Shore Capital Group Incorporated, an independent firm with securities offered through Summit Brokerage Services, Inc., member FINRA SIPC, and advisory services offered through Summit Financial Group, Inc., a registered investment advisor. 847-735-9200, 250 East Illinois Road, Suite 201, Lake Forest, Illinois, 60045.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy talking about the inaugural Trump's address before the CIA on Saturday, the first press conference Sean Spicer, Trump White House press secretary, gave, which, by the way, included something that was worth noting.
Yes.
And speaks to the D.C. press corps' disposition towards Trump. Zeke Miller from Time Magazine tweeting out that Trump had removed, or someone had removed, the bust of Martin Luther King from the Oval Office. Not true.
Yeah, a Secret Service agent was standing in front of it.
Not true.
And he apologized. But yeah, so Spicer brought that up.
Yeah, and it's important to bring up because it's the attitude. That's interesting he would make that mistake, right? Because Trump and Republicans are racists, so I'm not going to fact check anything, just like the New York Times doesn't anymore, just like USA Today doesn't anymore. The news agencies that are saying we're the victims of this war that Trump is started against the D.C. press corps, your legitimacy is being undermined by your work product, the shoddiness of it, the fact that you have dispensed, and I appreciate it, with all pretense of objectivity or reporting, and you're just an advocate for the anti-Trump forces, the marchers and everybody else who's anti-Trump, everybody else who offers no intellectual argument, just name-calling, racist, all the isms and phobias, So,
and speaking of bust, he is bringing back the bust of Winston Churchill.
Good. But that bust story is important. Mm-hmm. It's important. And so you could excuse Sean Spicer for being a little agitated by the shoddiness and irresponsible reporting of Time Magazine's Zeke Miller, who was the pool reporter in that location. Tom and Schaumburg, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Thank you. The same is true of crowd size, Dan, because the press never downplayed the numbers at the Million Man March. In fact, the coverage was endless, and the crowd size looked outrageously large, but they never downplayed until Sunday when one of the news broadcasters said was comparing march sizes to the march that happened over the weekend, and they said Million Man March contained 300,000 people. And they did just the opposite to the march that took place, March on Washington by Tea Party people, where they barely covered it and barely showed a fraction of the people that were there and made no big deal out of it. So it is the perception that they were trying to create that on one hand we have this, on the other hand, oh, look at this is nothing. This is a bunch of fringe idiots. So and as far as this guy Sean Spicer goes, he's not the guy that showed up at the festivities on Friday with what looked like a transvestite on his arm. That was Chucky Schumer.
Thanks for the call, Tom. I mean, here's the thing about that. This is what the D.C. press corps does every year for the March for Life, which is this weekend. That's what they do every year.
Do they even cover it?
So, well, that's my point. So that's
it's a quick story instead of going full coverage live for 2 to 3 hours all day like they did for the Women's March.
Expect, I should say, the marginalization. That's what the D.C. press corps does, and this again is another way in which they've undermined their legitimacy in the minds of so many. By the way, just in terms of that Women's March, just remember one factoid from the Women's March, the P March in D.C. and elsewhere.
The sister march, as I call it.
Suffragettes. Susan B. Anthony, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, they would not have been welcome at the Women's P March. That's all you need to know about that march. Susan B. Anthony, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and the suffragettes would not have been welcome there. And you know why? Because they're pro-life. Jim in Tampa.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, Dan and Amy. I think that when Trump stands in front of the wall and says these things that people object to, I think people will come to understand that this is all strategic, and he is trying to make America great again, and part of making America great again is making the press do their job right. And if they don't do it, somebody's got to make them do it and go on the attack until they check themselves. I just think it's all strategic.
Thanks for the call, Jim. Well, one of the ways that Trump is doing that, I know you've seen this, Amy, is expanding the pool of White House press passes.
Yep.
So, for example,
To
Katie
include
Pavlich from Town Hall, Jim Hoft, Gateway Pundit, they're going to be part of the White House press corps. It's going to be a very different White House press corps to make American media great again.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
For me, it was the big S-Class from the 90s. Beautiful. My friend's dad had one.
The SL. All of the SLs. I've been watching those since I was a kid.
I think the 1971 SE was the first Mercedes that just blew me away.
Everyone remembers the first time they saw one, and the day they began to long for a Mercedes-Benz of their own. Well, that day may be a lot closer than you think. With a certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz, you can experience the luxury, the unparalleled safety, the performance, and the style Mercedes-Benz is famous for at a price you can afford. Beautiful SUVs, sedans, coupes, and convertibles that are factory certified and covered by an unlimited mileage warranty for up to 3 years, so you can drive without a worry for as far as you like. And during the certified pre-owned sales event going on now through February 28th, you can receive 2 years of complimentary prepaid maintenance and special financing available through Mercedes-Benz Financial Services, only at your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer. You've waited long enough.
See your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer for complete details and limitations on certified pre-owned warranties.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
United Van Line study for 2016 is out, and families still fleeing Illinois like it's on fire. One former Illinois resident is helping them do so. GetOutofIllinois.com. We'll talk to that website creator at 6:36.
And what happened to CNN's David Gergen? I think he might have had a stroke. I'm the only one who cares, says Dan. But no, he, after 16 hours on the air, well, we'll play it for you. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
38 degrees, and at 6:32, the Senate Foreign Relations Committee says they're expected this afternoon to vote on President Donald Trump's nominee to be Secretary of State. Senator Marco Rubio of Florida clashing with nominee Rex Tillerson at a committee hearing earlier this month, but Tillerson got a boost Sunday from Senators John McCain and Lindsey Graham. President Trump meets with House Speaker Paul Ryan today on what he calls the true opening day of his administration. Meantime, Trump will face a lawsuit accusing him of violating the Constitution. It's from a group of lawyers who claim that the president illegally received payments from foreign governments. The allegations stem from the president's refusal to completely divest, they believe, from his businesses. An advisor to the new president downplaying an alleged feud between Donald Trump and the intelligence community.
He went to the CIA because lies have been told about his relationship and his respect for the intelligence community.
Kellyanne Conway on NBC's Meet the Press. 20 are dead following a weekend of heavy rain, high winds, and flooding. Mississippi, Georgia, tornadoes and high winds have claimed 18 lives in those two states.
You literally have a trailer park that looks like it's been disintegrated. You literally have just smatterings of what used to be homes thrown into the woods.
7 million people in Florida this morning are under tornado watches after weekend storms. Check that brew in your fridge. Sierra Nevada Brewing is recalling bottled beer in 36 states. Some 12-ounce bottles have a flaw that could allow glass to break or fall inside the bottle. So far, no customer complaints or reports of injuries from the problem bottles. United Airlines says domestic flights are on the move again after being grounded Sunday because of a computer glitch. Chicago police are searching for the person who shot and killed a woman outside an elementary school on the west side. And authorities say 2 men have survived a fall through the ice on Channel Lake. Lake County Sheriff says the men were leaving the ice when they went through about 100 yards from shore. The news, a service of LifeLock, grabbing coffee or breakfast. If you swipe your card, you leave a trail of digital information thieves can use to steal your identity. Ever hear of LifeLock? Their U.S.-based team of specialists help resolve identity theft problems. Go to LifeLock.com now. Use promo code RISK to save 10%. 634, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager believes the left needs to get out of its own bubble.
Far more dangerous than people who lie knowing they're lying are people who lie not knowing they're lying. The left lives in its own echo chamber. They only read, study under, live with, talk to people they agree with. It's like this tsunami of hysteria.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas, great coffee, period.
Hi, I'm Tom Sadeka, President and CEO of Precision Payroll of America. I'm reaching out to you today and asking you to take a look at your business relationships from a different angle. Have you ever wondered what organizations and causes your vendors support? I have, and it's eye-opening. Our nation is divided, and normal, traditional values are coming under attack by heavily financed aggressors. I can tell you that we do not and will never support hood and matter. We do support our veterans, our students fighting for truth, and yes, AM 560. If you currently use or need a payroll service, please let's meet. If you have no need, please consider the other advertisers on this station, as we are all fighting the same fight and we need to unite. To work together, call me at 630-242-1507. That's 630-242-1507. On the web at precisionpayroll.com. Let's talk, let's meet, let's unite.
I have actually been on Balance of Nature for a year now. I have MS, and I recently had an MRI. This is the first year that I've had a stable MRI, so I'm thrilled. When I have an MRI with MS, usually there are glowing spots that come through, which is damage on the nerves in my brain and my spinal cord, and when they're glowing, it means they're active. And then my last MRI, they pulled it up, and I honestly couldn't believe that it was my MRI. There was nothing glowing. And in fact, the dark spots were shrinking. They were healing. And the doctor actually said to me, I think we're in remission. I was so happy. I had no idea that that could be my reality.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-246-8751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
It is 6:37. Let's get a check of the roads in our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's AM 560's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Travel times are rising. The Edens is now 26 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 21. The Kennedy, 32 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 37. The Eisenhower, 45 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, outbound 36. The Stevenson, 56 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 36. Ryan, 23 minutes. 95th to downtown. Tollways are still fairly light. Traffic as a service of Staples resolved to get organized this year. Staples has low prices on everything your business needs to be organized this year, like bankers boxes, file folders, and storage bins. Go to staples.com/coupons for your 20% off select supplies coupon. Ends 1/29. Restrictions may apply. Staples, make more happen. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Cloudy, 44 today, partly cloudy and 33 overnight. Currently 37 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 7, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by HealthQuest Radio with Dr. David Kolbaba. HealthQuest Radio is heard Saturday mornings at 11 o'clock here on AM 560, The Answer.
Your money. Find out how to keep more of it and live debt-free. Tonight on The Dave Ramsey Show, starting at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So the United Van Line's annual study of migratory patterns of Americans is out. And Illinois comes in
yes,
tied for number one with New Jersey. We're number one.
We are number one. Woo!
63% of movers leaving Illinois, 37% coming in. That's high with New Jersey.
And what do we have in common with New Jersey?
Terrible public policy and a very high cost of living for limited return on said high cost. It's worse than that. By the way, Illinois has been in the top 5 states for outmigration for the last 8 years.
Wow.
For 5 of the last 8 years. 5 of the last 8 years. An exodus not seen since the Israelites fled Egypt. That's what's happening in Illinois, but it's worse than that. Because from some research done by Michael Lucci over at the Illinois Policy Institute, for the tax year 2014, the most recent year of data, the average income of people leaving Illinois, $77,000. The average income of people entering Illinois, $57,000. That income differential of $20,000 between out-migrants and in-migrants is the worst in the United States. Successful people, upwardly mobile people, fleeing the state. I've mentioned this before, Granite Institute study of Illinois. You think, oh, this is just seniors retiring to live out their golden years in a warm climate. No. Number one group by percentage leaving Illinois, millennials. Why? Because they can't get jobs here. And because we're number one, or we're right there with New Jersey, 1, 2, in the out-migration of college-bound high school seniors. They're going to college out of state. And what happens when kids go to college out of state? Oftentimes they stay out of state, and they're certainly not coming back to a state that doesn't have job opportunities in their chosen field of endeavor. Wake up, Illinois. The second largest cohort behind millennials leaving Illinois? Seniors? No. 35 to 54. Young, upwardly mobile families thinking about their children's education, thinking about their career track, and seeing Illinois as not the place. And think about this for yourself. Think about the decision that it entails leaving a state. No, you look across the border in Indiana or Wisconsin, you say lower cost of living just a better economic environment or so, better educational environment. So it's still not an easy decision. Sell your home, pull up roots. You may have family, friends. You've been in this state for a long time. It's not an easy thing to do, and yet it is happening at an incredible pace. And against that backdrop, we have the inanity of Senate GOP Minority Leader Christine Radogno getting buffaloed by Senate President John Cullerton, and apparently with the assent, or at least he's playing Pontius Pilate, of Governor Rauner, to raise the state income tax and corporate income tax in exchange for nothing, in exchange for window dressing, just to get something done, to get a budget done. Raising income taxes in a recession, which is what Illinois has been in for the better part of 15 years, and the outmigration is just one metric, is the worst thing you can do. How bad is it? During the income tax raise years of Pat Quinn, Illinois, again, according to Illinois Policy Institute research, lost $14 billion in state domestic product, gross adjusted income during those income tax years. We've been losing for 20 years a person in this state every 5 minutes. Shall I go on? And what's the response from Republicans in the General Assembly at the leadership level? To negotiate the terms of surrender with Chicago Democrats who've put us in this place, who've destroyed this state's economy. The country is going one direction, with the exception of the coasts and Illinois, going a completely different direction towards economic oblivion, towards a failed state. And when Rich Miller over at Capital Facts, no conservative, is talking about Illinois as a potential failed state, that tells you where we're at. And it's Chicago Democrat dominance of this state. But don't wake up in the suburbs. Don't wake up in the collar counties. Keep forcing people to flee. And when the bills come due for those people that stayed, so many of them are going to be innocent bystanders to some extent. But for the champagne socialists who love this and say, give me more, just remember all of the warnings that were issued. And one of the individuals helping people move out of Illinois is a former Illinois resident himself. He is Jeff Kirsch, who started the website with his wife, getoutofillinois.com, and he joins us now. Jeff, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So give us your story because, I mean, unfortunately, I talk to people all over the state, as does Amy, and I don't think you can have a conversation with somebody in Illinois that within the first 2 minutes doesn't turn to their exit strategy. So tell us what prompted you to flee.
What prompted me to flee? Well, I mean, you know, my wife and I are some of the lucky folks who really can find work anywhere, and we were always frustrated, obviously not just with the political climate in Illinois, but, you know, the overall quality of life in the suburbs, you know. And if you're young and single, I mean, sure, you live in the city and it can be a blast, but then a lot of people I talk to, you know, you settle down, you raise a family, you move out to the suburbs, and the reality of things is that when you live in the suburbs and you're raising a family, I mean, life at best is just really boring, you know, and you know, it's miserable winters. It's too cold to be outside half the year. You know these things. Summer comes and rains half the time. You know, the thing for us, too, that really started to grate on us after a while is that there's very little natural beauty of any kind in northern Illinois, and you're totally landlocked, right? So you've got to get on a plane to get to the ocean, to see some scenery. You go to Chicago twice a year if you're lucky. And I think we just started to realize that the quality of life in Illinois is just not what it should be.
Well, Jeff, have you been to Utica, Illinois?
Go up year after year after year. You know, I think a lot of people are having this experience. You begin to look at each other and say, there's really just no good reason to live here anymore. You know, so for our story is we moved out of North Carolina in 2013, and now that I look back, I really wonder why we didn't do it earlier. And I think a lot of people who have left Illinois are starting to say the same thing because there's so many places in the country that offer so much better quality of life and at way less cost. And I think our story is not uncommon. A lot of people are starting to feel this way and starting to realize that, you know, the quality of life of Illinois overall is pretty poor. And as you see your taxes going up and the mounting fear that we don't know how high these bills are going to get. I may be able to pay my tax bill now, but will I in the future, right? And there's really only one direction the taxes can go, and that's up. And we began to realize that and to say, hey, we need to do something about this out of interest for our future.
Well, by the way,
and I would really say to the listeners the same thing, that if they're contemplating, you know, getting out of Illinois, that now is really time to do so because it's not going to get any better.
By the way,
you have to really ask yourself how much worse it's going to get.
Just a quick aside, North Carolina, number 8 in the country in in-migration.
Right. Well, Jeff, I don't know if you figured this out, but how much have you saved in property tax costs by moving from Illinois to North Carolina?
Well, it's dramatic. I mean, our home in the northwest suburbs was approaching 4% of property tax.
Yeah.
You know,
4% of home value.
Which is just, yeah, which is unbelievable, right? And I mean, right now we're paying about 1/5 of that. So, and the thing is, it's not just the property taxes. That's the amazing thing. It's that. So we're in the Charlotte area. If you combine the cheaper cost of housing down here with the dramatically lower property taxes, you're looking at about 50% cheaper minimum. When you're talking similar distance, you know, from the city, the similar types of schools you'd get in the collar counties. And maybe the biggest thing, too, is that here in the South, in the Sun Belt, and this isn't just unique to North Carolina, but to really most states in the Sun Belt, we actually have property values that are increasing. And I don't know if you saw this, but Realtor.com recently just posted its 2017 housing predictions for the 100 largest metros in the United States. For 2017, Chicagoland is projected to be dead last, 100 out of 100, as far as property value appreciation. Inexcusable. I mean, Chicago is one of the few areas in the United States that has not seen property values recover to what their peaks were in 2008. And, you know, you had mentioned, Dan, about the wealth disparity in the country, or excuse me, in the state, between people moving out and moving in. And if you let that go unchecked, not only are you going to see in increasing measure people not being able to pay their property taxes, but people can't afford the price of the home to begin with.
That's
going
right.
to put downward pressure on the increase in appreciation in your home, and you start to realize that the state is, in fact, stealing equity from folks in the form of these high property taxes.
That's exactly what's happening. That is exactly what's happening. Stealing equity. Your home is not your home. It's collateral for the government for unfunded pension liabilities and the rest of the largesse. That is precisely what's happening, and it is so pernicious, and it's stunning to me that there has, I mean, I guess the revolt is just people leaving rather than fighting. But that's precisely what's going on. And I wonder, your website, getoutofillinois.com, I mentioned at the outset, you know, what a difficult decision it is to decide to move. It's a big undertaking. And so what you do to facilitate people who want to follow suit and head to the Tar Heel State or elsewhere?
Well, one of the main things that we provide, and first and foremost, is we help people explore possible relocation spots. So we kind of function as advisors to help them sort through possible locations, which is a huge thing because, if you've lived in Chicago your whole life, some people have had the luxury of being able to travel and are familiar with other areas in the country, but there's a lot of people who are not. And we've had a lot of feedback from folks where people say, I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
And we just want to be able to be sounding boards for folks, to be able to help them out. How do you decide between Arizona and Texas and between Tennessee and North Carolina? And, drilling out from there, what's an area that would work for you, personally and professionally? So we do that. We provide people with comprehensive real estate services, so we can provide a listing agent for your current home in Illinois and an agent to purchase or rent, in another location. And we do this anywhere in the United States. And we've been through the relocation process from Chicago ourselves, so we really understand, I think, in a unique way what the challenges and questions are that can arise in that process as people are thinking about getting out. So we want to be there for folks and help them through every step of the process of relocating from Illinois.
Well, I'll tell you what, I hate to recommend this to people. By the way, you'll get an email from me after the show. I hate to recommend this to people fleeing, because I'm kind of a lash to the mast guy. And I want the people who suck to leave, but I understand why people are leaving, and I don't begrudge people, charting a.
You've got to get that on a T-shirt. I want the people who
Yeah,
suck to
they
leave
should
Illinois.
leave. They're the ones who suck. But I understand. I understand people looking for better quality of life at a lower cost, and I don't begrudge them that. And I don't begrudge you moving to North Carolina or facilitating other people out. I mean, it's just sensible, I suppose. Jeff Kirsch, he's the co-creator of the website getoutofillinois.com. Jeff, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
What color would your T-shirt be if you put that on a T-shirt?
I'll borrow the pink from the Women's Fee March this weekend.
Watch out, I might get you a hat. Hey, today you're not going to need a hat, though, so the ladies don't have to wear them today, because it's going to be pretty mild out there, mostly cloudy, a high of 44. And tomorrow, no hat again, mostly cloudy, a high of 42. Let's go to Jim Telemonte, who's in our brand new Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. You like the new coat of paint?
It looks excellent. There's no pink here, Amy. Sorry. Good morning. On Gurnee, we've got a closure of northbound Hunt Club Road. This is south of Stern School Road. It's closed from Bridle Trail to Stern School due to a crash there. Southbound, it is open. The Edens looking at 30 minutes. Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 21. The Kennedy, 34 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 40. The Eisenhower, now 45 minutes. Thorndale to the Loop, outbound it's 36. Stevenson, 58 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 37. Bryan, 24 minutes, 90, 50 downtown. Northbound Tri-State Heavy, 87th to the 83rd Street toll. And from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue, the other tollways still look pretty good. I'm Jim Talamonte in the brand new Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
I'm Keith Peters in for Lou Dobbs. It's week one of the Trump administration. Boston Marathon films possibly funded with tax dollars. Those stories next.
Bill Bennett here to tell you about Augusta Precious Metals. Attention investors, your IRA or your 401k may be at risk again. The 2008 crash wiped out up to 50% of IRAs and 401ks. Can you afford to lose again? What if you could store IRA or 401k savings where you can see, touch, and hold it in your hands? With the Augusta Gold or Silver IRA, you transfer a portion of retirement savings into physical coins you can actually see and get fast in case of any disaster. Call Augusta Precious Metals today for a free gold and silver IRA guide. No obligation. Augusta Precious Metals, A-plus Better Business Bureau rating, 98% 5-star customer satisfaction rating with TrustLink.org. Trust Augusta. Call Augusta Precious Metals today at 1-855-222-6993. That's 1-855-222-6993. One more time, 1-855-222-6993.
President Donald Trump has his first Monday in the Oval Office today, and administration officials say he'll sign as many as 200 executive orders to rescind what the president calls burdensome Obama-era regulations on taxpayers and businesses. No major economic reports are due out today, but the Treasury Department will conduct its auctions of Treasury notes. Films about the 2013 Boston Marathon bombing are hot in Hollywood these days. Mark Wahlberg's Patriots Day is currently in theaters, and a second movie, Strong, is upcoming. But both big screen productions sought tax breaks and production rebates for actually filming in Boston, and they're mum about revealing how many tax dollars went into the final productions. Please join us for Lou Dobbs tonight at 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. I'm Keith Peters for the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Your company's critical projects involve improving processes, evolving business models, launching products, and realizing strategic imperatives. Integrated Project Management's core competency is execution, using process, leadership, and discipline to assure successful, sustainable results. Since 1988, IPM has led nearly 4,000 initiatives alongside our clients in a structured, engaging, and respectful manner. IPM's 7 nationwide offices employ consultants who excel at providing project management consulting to America's most successful firms. Their outstanding leaders transform strategy into reality, providing clients with a competitive advantage. IPM has been recognized as a top small and medium workplace and great workplace in consulting and professional services by Fortune magazine and one of the 25 best small companies by Forbes magazine. When your company needs help executing critical projects, visit IPMCinc.com or call Integrated Project Management's Chicago office at 630-789-8600. That's IPMCinc.com. Nothing matters if you can't execute.
Are you behind in your mortgage, facing foreclosure, being given the runaround on a loan modification application by some bank or servicer? Well, you're not alone, but I may be able to help you. My name is Lou Bridges. I'm with the law firm of Lou Bridges & Associates. We've put together a team to help distressed homeowners like you. Give us a call. We give everyone who's eligible a free consultation. I guarantee you it will not be a sales pitch. We will give you our honest analysis, counsel, recommendations, and advice regarding your options.
We are experts in doing loan modifications successfully. We know the regs. We understand the process. Most importantly, we don't take no for an answer. We fight. We are prepared, and we win. We save houses. We make houses affordable. So if you want to keep your house affordable, contact us.
Go to bridgeslaw.net or call 224-513-1231. That's 224-513-1231.
Remember, people, never give up the land. Fight for truth and justice. You do that, and I guarantee you'll never be alone.
SpeedyCath catheters are prescribed for both men and women with chronic urine retention or a post-void residual volume due to neurogenic and non-neurogenic voiding dysfunction. Before using, carefully read all instructions. Call your doctor for complete risk information if you think you have a UTI or can't pass the catheter into the bladder. Freedom. If you're a catheter user, more freedom can make all the difference in the way you live your life. At Coloplast, our innovative, ready-to-use SpeedyCath compact design is forever changing the way catheter users live their lives. And right now, you can try it for free. The most discreet catheter available, SpeedyCath Compact is ready when you are. Its compact size hides easily, and its advanced coating is pre-lubricated for ease of use and a whole lot more comfort. Now that's freedom. Millions have been used worldwide, and now you can try them absolutely free with a doctor's prescription. Available for both men and women, they're covered by Medicare and most insurance. For your free samples, go to SpeedyCath.com or call 800-341-6285. That's 800-341-6285. 800-341-6285.
Hey, are you thinking about the IRS right now? Man, if the IRS is coming after you, your problem, your IRS problem is there day and night. You need help to fight the IRS. I recommend you call my very good friend, Attorney Stephen Leahy of Open Tax Resolutions. Hey, he's got a special offer going on right now. If you're not certain about your position with the IRS, he will pull your personal IRS transcripts and find out exactly where you stand for free. Find out where you stand. If you owe back taxes, if you have unfiled returns. Hey, if you're afraid of the IRS, call my friend Steve Leahy now. 312-664-6649. Steve's the host of the IRS Radio Hour, heard every Sunday at 5 right here on AM 560. He's also a really good friend of mine, and I don't know of anybody better in dealing with the IRS. Call him now. Steve Leahy, 312-664-6649. That's 312-664-6649.
You've heard of living trusts and how they can help protect your assets, but you may not know if a living trust is right for you. Or maybe you have questions about creating your own living trust. The fact is, almost everyone can benefit from a living trust, which can protect your assets from the court system and your loved ones from unnecessary expense and inconvenience. Learn more at a free seminar Wednesday, January 25th. Estate planning attorney Robert Zapolis will explain how to create your own living trust, estate planning under the new tax laws, why a will does not avoid probate, and more. Have your estate planning and living trust questions answered absolutely free. Don't miss this important seminar Wednesday, January 25th at 6:30 p.m. at Papa Joe's Restaurant, 145th and LaGrange Road in Orland Park. The seminar is free and a complimentary dinner is served, but you must make a reservation now. Call 708-478-1400. Call 708-478-1400. Again, 708-478-1400.
Illinois lawmakers returning to Springfield this week. That story coming up. WIND Chicago News Time 7.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. It's his first Monday morning on the job.
I think it may very well be a great moment in history.
President Trump, as his senior staffers were sworn in yesterday. Fox's Melanie Wilkes is live in Washington.
Dave, the new president already tweeting this morning that it will be a busy week ahead with a heavy focus on jobs and national security. Mr. Trump starts the day hosting a breakfast with business leaders. Then he'll head to the Oval Office to sign executive orders, some of which could begin to undo President Obama's policies. On Friday, the president signed 2 executive orders, one freezing all new federal regulations. The other rolls back the mandate to buy insurance under Obamacare. Then this afternoon, Mr. Trump meets with congressional leaders from both parties. His policy agenda and his cabinet picks expected to be under discussion. Dave?
Melanie, the Senate could approve Mike Pompeo for CIA director today. So far, only 2 cabinet nominees have been confirmed.
People like Jeff Sessions voted for members of Barack Obama's cabinet on day one, that they're vilifying now Jeff Sessions. And so this isn't about who said, she said. This isn't about who did what and paybacks. This is about doing what's right for the country.
Republican Senator Cory Gardner, the Senate Foreign Relations Committee will also today vote on Rex Tillerson for Secretary of State. The most senior Democrat on the committee, Ben Cardin, says he will not support Tillerson because Tillerson would not call what Russia did in Syria war crimes. Republicans John McCain and Lindsey Graham, who were Tillerson critics, now will support him. There's a lot of damage in the South, from Louisiana to the Carolinas, hit by storms that spawned dozens of tornadoes over the weekend. 15 people were killed in Georgia.
You literally have a trailer park that looks like it's been disintegrated.
It's Dougherty County Commissioner Chris Cohilas. Another 4 people died on Saturday in Mississippi. If you go to the post office today to buy stamps, you'll pay more. The Forever Stamps price has risen 2 cents up to 49. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
38 degrees, cloudy skies at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. United Airlines says domestic flights are on the move again. After being grounded late Sunday because of a computer problem, the IT issue that initially caused the ground stop has been resolved. Flights resuming this morning. Ground stop lasted about 2.5 hours. Chicago police are searching for the person who shot and killed a woman outside an elementary school on the west side. The victim found lying on the sidewalk early this morning near the corner of Maypole and Laverne. The woman died at the scene. The shooting happened near the Spencer Elementary Technology Academy. Authorities say 2 men have survived a fall through the ice on a northern Illinois lake. Lake County sheriffs tell us the men were leaving the ice Sunday on Channel Lake when they went through about 100 yards from shore. One man pulled himself out. The other man rescued by members of the Antioch Fire Department. He was in the water for about 30 minutes. Get ready to hear about taxes, pensions, and debt. The Illinois Senate hopes to vote on the first of 14 pieces of legislation that make up the so-called grand bargain this week. Republicans in the Senate are starting to question whether the bargain is really good for taxpayers, and Governor Rauner is set to deliver his State of the State speech on Wednesday. Former federal prosecutor who became a judge in 2013 has now been assigned to handle the corruption case against former U.S. Representative Aaron Schock. Judge Colin Bruce presides over a courtroom in Urbana. Blackhawks beat Vancouver 4-2. College hoops. Northwestern topped Ohio State 74-72. And the Patriots and Falcons are going to the Super Bowl. The news, a service of LifeLock. Grabbing coffee or breakfast, if you swipe your card, you leave a trail of digital information that thieves can use to steal your identity. Ever hear of LifeLock? Their U.S.-based team of specialists help resolve identity theft problems. Go to LifeLock.com now. Use promo code RISK to save 10%. 7:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity was happy to see Trump stand up to the mainstream media.
You know, I know the mainstream media is still licking their wounds after President-elect Trump smacked them around in the first press conference. I told you that was the greatest beatdown ever. If you know how abusively biased the mainstream media is, and the fact that they have been exposed to such an unbelievable level.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
These days, you gotta have a side hustle. And I'm not talking about a 9-to-5. I'm talking about driving with Uber. It's the ultimate side hustle. You wanna earn extra money? Drive with Uber. Have a few spare hours here and there? Drive with Uber. You like the idea of being your own boss? Drive with Uber. You make a great boss. You're probably driving right now. You should be earning. If you want your car to start making you money, then visit uber.com/drive now and get your side hustle on today. That's uber.com/drive now.
How do you become America's best-selling brand? At Ford, we go further to make it protective by offering vehicles with the most 5-star crash ratings. That's Ford, and that's how you become America's best-selling brand. 5-star ratings based among full-line brands offering multiple cars, pickup trucks, and utilities. Government 5-star safety ratings are part of the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's new car assessment program. Go to safercar.gov for details. Sales claim based on 2016 calendar year sales.
7:05. Let's get an update on the roads in our Alarm Detection Center's Systems Traffic Center. Here's AM 560's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Morning. Eden's inbound delays begin before Tui. It's 31 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound 24. The Kennedy now 43 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, a little quicker in the Express. Outbound 38. The Eisenhower 45 minutes. Thorndale to the post office. Outbound 38. A crash at Harlem on the right shoulder. Stevenson, 55 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, and 45 from the Tri-State. Outbound 36 minutes to 355. Bryan, 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State stop and goes 75th to 31st. And from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue, Reagan Tollway still Myers to Midwest. There was a westbound crash, and then it's heavy. There is a new crash on the eastbound side, on the left shoulder near Midwest. Other tollways are good. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center, here is our meteorologist, Michael Stack.
Today, mostly cloudy skies, high 44. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, low 34. More clouds for your Tuesday, high 43. Considerably cloudy with a rain or snow shower in spots. Wednesday's high 43. I'm Michael Stack on AM 560, The Answer.
Currently 37 at O'Hare, 38 along the lakefront. Next news at 7:30. Continuous news coverage at 560theanswer.com. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Advanced Planning Advisors, bringing you Smart Money Talk with Mike Moylan and Rob Curvin, Saturday mornings at 6.
Good morning. Welcome to your Monday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
We are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people.
There's been a lot of talk in the media about the responsibility to hold Donald Trump accountable. And I'm here to tell you that it goes two ways. We're going to hold the press accountable as well.
I am a nasty woman.
I'm sorry, why'd you start that fire?
Because I felt like it, and because I'm just saying, screw our president.
Okay, well, there you have it.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. I couldn't tell, was that prepubescent kid, or was that Chuck Schumer at the top explaining why he lit a bunch of garbage on fire? You had a lot of people running around with their hair metaphorically on fire over the weekend in response to Trump being inaugurated as the 45th president of the United States. How about Bart Hubbock?
Who's Bart Hubbock?
He's an NFL writer for the New York Post. He tweeted 12/7/41, 9/11/01, 1/2017. Comparing Trump's inauguration, obviously, to Pearl Harbor and 9/11. Yeah. That's measured. That's proportional. That's the D.C. press corps that is crying about being attacked by the Trump administration. And then there's this. I have to play this because this is my favorite clip of the weekend.
Mine was a Southwest Airlines, but yours.
Oh, that's
this
not
is
even
it.
close.
Okay,
Not even
don't
close.
be so dismissive.
Not even close. This is my ringtone. This is how great this is.
Oh, okay. Dan Proft has spoken.
This is the primal scream, death shriek of the left upon the inauguration of Donald Trump. One woman caught by, I think it was NBC.
Coverage of the presidential inauguration from NPR News, and you can hear the 21-gun salute in the background. Another signal that for all of that resistance, for all of that opposition, Donald J. Trump is now president of the United States.
Did you hear that at the end, like the last 8 seconds? I was like, no! That's a good one. But I got to say, it reminded me of the Nazi melting scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark. You see if you can tell the difference. And then the face melts and the eyes.
I still remember that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. People get a grip.
I just wish her face would have melted too.
Oh.
That would have been great. I mean, it's just for the pageantry of it all. All right, for more. By the way,
yeah.
Your take. I mean, as our fashion correspondent, your take on Ivanka and Melania's fashion sense, because Bill Clinton seemed to like it.
Oh, he sure did. I mean, Ivanka Trump wore a white pantsuit from Oscar de la Renta, which was just stunning.
There's an Oscar de la Rentas.
Oh, sure, that guy.
I mean,
but
I hate to pull rank on fashion.
oh yeah, okay, thanks. And Melania's Ralph Lauren blue outfit with the gloves and shoes were spectacular. I mean, really, I was joking around on Friday because the hue is a little off on our screen here. But once I saw it at home, she looked classy and modern, and she is going to be the most photographed woman in the world. But yes, Bill Clinton did. They're such fetching outfits that Bill Clinton couldn't stop staring at them until Hillary was staring at Bill. Focus.
I believe the word is leering. For more on the inauguration weekend and what's to come, including today's executive orders, we're pleased to be joined by our friend Matt Mackowiak. He is Republican strategist and president of Potomac Strategy Group. Matt, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning.
So Trump moved on Obamacare in kind of general terms, kind of a baby step with an executive order on Friday, but he's expected to do much more today. Can you give us a little preview of what we can anticipate?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to see them move on a number of the priorities that they talked about during the campaign. I think the first thing you're going to see is they're going to remove the United States from the Trans-Pacific Partnership. I mean, I think that'll get a lot of attention. They're going to do something called reinstituting the Mexico City policy, which is sort of insider language, but matters a lot to the pro-life community. It basically says the United States will not fund abortions overseas. They are going to take action on Obamacare. It looks like they're going to take action to move the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem, which is very controversial among sort of pro-Palestinian Americans and those who live abroad, but is very popular among the Israeli government, as Jerusalem really is the capital of Israel. So, you know, you're going to see 6 or 7 actions today. I think he says signing them at 10:30 Eastern, 9:30 Central, and it's going to certainly make a lot of news.
Well, can you explain one of his first executive actions was to cancel Obama's mortgage premium cuts? Can you explain?
For FHA.
For FHA.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not the world's greatest expert on Obamacare. I know that the first one of the first executive orders he signed, I think it was actually on Friday, freed up all of the agencies to sort of lessen the damage of Obamacare. So it allowed them to sort of move in whatever direction they wanted to move. My guess is that HUD moved in the direction that you just talked about as it related to mortgages. But the key is that Trump is going to be basically getting rid of the individual mandate. And the individual mandate is really the key to Obamacare, because if you don't require people to buy insurance by either giving a penalty or requiring it just generally, the whole system doesn't work. I mean, it doesn't work anyway, but it really doesn't work without the individual mandate, because it doesn't bring in all the new customers, the money from which allows the insurance companies to make those popular provisions, getting rid of allowing kids to stay on their parents' plan until they're 26, getting rid of lifetime caps, getting rid of pre-existing conditions. Those popular provisions are expensive. Without the individual mandate, you don't have the new customers that come into the system. So that's really the key. But the first executive order that President Trump signed on Friday, literally within hours of being sworn in, was a very general executive order that basically allowed all the agencies to basically change Obamacare in whatever way they thought they needed to sort of lessen the pain that Obamacare has been causing to the economy.
Yeah, begin defanging Obamacare. Now, just in addition to what you said about the HUD executive order regarding FHA, this is also in response to a rate cut, a 0.25% rate cut that Obama promulgated by executive order that was set to take effect end of this month. And there's concern on the Hill about the liquidity of the FHA program, what kind of backstop they have after having to be bailed out just 8 years ago. This is akin to, or part of, I should say, worrying about the federal government re-blowing up the housing bubble that burst 8 years ago. So that's a piece of it as well. It's not the attacking the poor demagoguery you're hearing from the left. I want to get your take on this other spat that may be looming. The Hill reports on this morning about Trump and congressional Republican leadership potentially at odds with spending cuts, cutting the expense of the federal government by 10%, cutting the federal workforce by 20%, as Trump has telegraphed.
Yeah, look, I mean, Republicans, have been proposing pretty serious spending cuts for a long time, and we have pretty solid ideas about what we want to do. Donald Trump has come at this from a different place. Now, he has complained pretty loudly about the size of the national deficit and the size of the national debt, and he's right about that. But this is really where the fighting, comes in. I mean, no two people agree on where you should have massive spending cuts to the federal government, and that's true among Hill leaders, true among President Trump as well. So this is really where the cabinet is going to come in. I don't believe Donald Trump, as President of the United States, really has studied the budget all that closely. I think he knows the top-line numbers like maybe most people do, but I don't think he understands where the money is really. And that's where, committee chairmen on Capitol Hill and cabinet secretaries are going to have to really work together to figure out what they can cut and what they can't cut.
Speaking of cabinet secretaries, Tillerson and who else is going and Pompeo to be confirmed today, it appears. Do you see any cabinet secretary nomination running into trouble, any of Trump's nominees?
So Pompeo will be confirmed today. There's a vote, I think, tonight in the U.S. Senate. Tillerson will not be confirmed today. He's going to get out of committee today.
Okay.
John McCain and Lindsey Graham both announcing they'll vote for him in committee. The one to watch is Marco Rubio. He is not committed to voting for Tillerson in committee. But no, to answer your question, I think they're all going to get through. Keep in mind, cabinet secretaries used to need 60 votes to be confirmed. Harry Reid changed that rule in a sort of short-sighted way when he was Senate Majority Leader. It's now a 51-vote threshold. There are 52 Republicans in the U.S. Senate. Now, if you have 50 votes for the Vice President, you have 51. So any nominee would have to lose 3 Republicans if all the Democrats stay united. I think some of them are going to be really close. Scott Pruitt at EPA, I think, will be really close. Betsy DeVos at Education will be really close. But I think you're going to see them all get through. A couple of them will get through with exactly 51 or 52 votes, perhaps. But I think they are all going to get confirmed. I think it's going to take a while. The Democrats are really trying to delay this. Obama had 7 nominees confirmed on the day he took office. Trump had 2. So, there's a lot of these major, particularly the national security jobs. All he has now is our defense and Homeland Security. He'll have CIA tonight, but there's still some major cabinet slots that are not confirmed. That's a story to keep watching.
Hey, Matt, as a Republican strategist, I wanted to get your take on Trump's first weekend in office. A little rocky. I mean, how does arguing about crowd size really help the American people?
Yeah, I agree. I didn't think taking that fight was useful. There's so much that they have to do right now that really requires their attention. And I think, really establishing credibility early on is so important. It's important for the president. It's important for the White House chief of staff. It's important for the White House press secretary. I've known Sean Spicer probably 10 years. I have a lot of respect for him. That was not a good performance on Saturday. And my guess is he knows that more than anyone else. So it's pretty clear that the Trump White House wants to have a fight with the press every day. And honestly, the press keeps taking the bait. The press is one of the least respected institutions in American life.
Well, that's just that's just it. Not to interrupt, but so are Trump and Spicer being petulant like foxes?
Yeah, maybe. I think that's a good way to put it. Yeah, perhaps. But you got to remember, this is not a campaign anymore. And Trump was very effective at picking fights with the press, day to day, and sort of rallying the silent majority of Americans behind him. That's not what this is. I mean, he has 100 days now to get through most of his agenda. That's generally what's been seen historically. After 100 days, you start getting back into the political cycle of the re-election for the midterms, and your ability to move things on the Hill slows down. So they've really got to be very efficient and focused here over the next 100 days. Now, he is meeting with congressional leaders tonight, including Speaker Ryan privately. So they really do need to get moving. The executive orders today are the first step of him upholding the promises he made when he was a candidate. So I think that's going to be a major step. But now he's got to get tax reform passed. He's got to get Obamacare fully repealed and replaced, which they've said they want to do by the end of March. He's got to get tax reform done. I mean, there's a lot of pieces here they got to follow through with. Because these are promises they made, and they have Republican majorities in the House and Senate. They need to go get it done.
And Theresa May, his first meeting with the head of state, Theresa May, the Prime Minister of Britain, later this week, the possibility of a bilateral agreement between the United States and Great Britain as they Brexit in the offing. That could be an early victory for Trump as well.
No question. I mean, that is crucial. Keep in mind, the reason that this is even possible is because of Brexit. I mean, Brexit has allowed the individual countries of the EU to do individual trade deals. And with TPP falling apart, too, it's those two things that are allowing a situation where the U.S. and the U.K. could do a bilateral trade deal. Yes, that would be huge for both economies. It would be very, very popular. But it's pretty clear that Trump needs a foreign ally that he can be very close to, and there would be no one better than the British Prime Minister, where he also has Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu coming, I believe, in February. So those, I think, will be two of our closest allies, and Trump needs to begin establishing strong relationships with world leaders right away.
He is Matt Mackowiak, Republican strategist, president of Potomac Strategy Group. Matt, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Take care.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Put down your waffles, your bagels, your croissants. Ashley Judd is next.
She's nasty, real nasty. Today, mostly cloudy, a high of 44 degrees. More of the same for tomorrow. And we won't have rain around here until Wednesday, possibly a snow shower. Let's go into the newly decorated alarm detection systems traffic center. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thank you, Amy. And Dan, good morning. In Lake Forest, got a crash on southbound 41 at 60. The left lane is blocked. The Edens is 24 minutes either way between Lake Cook and Montrose to Kennedy. 48 minutes O'Hare to downtown, 27 from Montrose, 24 in the Express. Outbound 38 to the airport. The Eisenhower, 46 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 38. Stevenson, 55 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 36. The Ryan, 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State, slow in pockets from the 83rd Street toll to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Northbound Veterans Memorial heavy from around 63rd to the Reagan Tollway. The other tollways are fine. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Hey, your company's IT partner should be more than just a place you call when you're having computer problems. Today, IT is beyond just hardware and software. IT is about a relationship between technology and the people who work with it. And that's where Turnkey IT is different. They're an IT company and a people company. They help people use IT better. People need help from computers and servers to cloud-based systems, cybersecurity, and advanced phone systems. People also need help finding out what's out there and how to implement exactly what they need, all with the support of an experienced team that resolves issues quickly. People remember the good experiences they receive when working with Turnkey IT. Shouldn't your business receive the same white glove treatment? See what other AM 560 listeners already know about Turnkey IT. Local, reputable, compassionate, and experienced. It's easy. Visit turnkey.pro today. Turnkey IT just does it better. Visit turnkey.pro now.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I'm telling you right now, it's awesome. I was trying to get my blood pressure regulated, okay? And after 3 days of taking this thing, my blood pressure went back down to normal. I am ecstatic. I am so happy with this stuff. It is my savior.
This was the first summer that I have not had to have a steroid shot to help me to breathe.
The reason why I'm taking it because I've got Hep C. Once I began taking your stuff, Took a few months, but believe it or not, my liver enzymes are way down and it's normal now. It works.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life, but I should have ordered it like 15 years ago.
The secret to how the rich keep getting richer is by passing down their wealth, generation to generation. If you do the same thing, you'll be leaving a legacy and be doing one of the most important things possible for the people you love. The ugly truth is, you don't have an estate plan. Everything you own, including your house, cars, investments, everything could be tied up in courts for a year or longer. It could cost your estate tens of thousands of dollars in probate and legal fees, even double government taxation. You can avoid this painful, costly mistake by contacting Tom Fortino of the Alpha Wealth Group. Tom hosts the Alpha Wealth Hour, heard Saturday mornings at 9 on AM 560, and has been a featured expert on Fox Business, Fortune, and Money Magazine. Right now, Alpha Wealth Group is offering you a free estate planning kit if you call 630-873-6326. That's 630-873-6326. 630-873-6326. Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Wealth Advisors, Inc.
Hi, this is Shalom Klein of Get Down to Business, the show for small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship, powered by Tandem HR.
According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, 1 out of every 5 adults over age 64 is still working. The number of Americans working past the traditional age of retirement has nearly doubled since the 1980s. While some attribute this statistic to healthier lifestyles and longevity, others simply cannot afford to retire. It's never too early to start planning for retirement. The best way to ensure financial security is to consult with a 401k or a financial advisor today. If you're a small or mid-sized business looking to offer an affordable retirement program to their employees, contact Tandem HR today. TandemHR.com. That's TandemHR.com.
For more tips, advice, and stories of entrepreneurial successes, listen to Get Down to Business with Shalom Klein. Heard Sunday afternoons at 6. Your Business Minute of the Day is powered by Tandem HR.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, Don in Yorkville is an inaugural veteran. Let's hear what his take on the inauguration. Don, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Hi, Don.
There.
Hi, Don, you're on.
Hello there.
Go.
Hi, Dan.
Yes.
I've been to 11 inaugurations, starting with Nixon, and there's no question Obama's was bigger in 2009, but the word I would use to sum this one up is joyful. This was the most joyful inauguration I've been to.
Okay.
Everyone was very happy, in a good mood. During the speech, you could see people welling up to tears and nothing but smiles. And it was exhilarating.
Thanks for the call, Don. Appreciate that first-person account. He must not have stayed for Saturday's march, because I wouldn't describe Ashley Judd as that. Ashley Judd, she introduced us to the scissorhood of the traveling bloody jeans.
All right, what does that mean?
Well, scissorhood, because, that's partial birth abortions. They stick a scissors in a baby's head to murder it.
Gross.
Well, I'm just telling you what they're celebrating.
Talk about that?
I'm just telling you what they're celebrating.
She's talking about equal pay in Hollywood.
Yeah, not exactly. And then she read this alleged poem from a 19-year-old from Tennessee named Nina Sullivan, but I have a feeling that Nina Sullivan is an Ashley Judd alter ego. This is somebody who contemplating running for U.S. Senate in Kentucky against Mitch McConnell a few years ago. Get a load of this.
Nasty. I'm nasty. Like my blood stains on my bed sheets, we don't actually choose if and when to have our periods. Believe me, if we could, some of us would. We don't like throwing away our favorite pairs of underpants. Tell me, why are pads and Tampax still taxed? Ooh, that was a brand name. Why are tampons
Chicago.
The
and
crowd seems to
pads
like
still
this.
taxed when Viagra and Rogaine are not? Is your erection really more than protecting the sacred, messy part of my womanhood is the blood stain on my jeans. More embarrassing than the thinning of your hair.
I'm going to assume those are rhetorical questions.
We do. The pads and tampons in Illinois are now under medical supplies, so they're not text anymore. Ashley Judd.
Perhaps let me go out on a limb here.
Okay.
Perhaps Ashley Judd is not the best person to decry Trump's vulgarity. You think?
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Dennis Miller live.
What is this urge for the country to be uniformly fit? You know, the last time I remember that happening was Germany in the mid to late 30s, and that didn't really work out too well, did it?
March 23rd, 8 p.m., the Genesee Theater. Tickets are on sale now at all Ticketmaster outlets and at the Genesee Theater box office. For more information, visit GeneseeTheater.com. Dennis Miller live.
Come on.
When you present your business card, what do you want it to say about you? If that card has the letters CMA after your name, it says you know the 11 most crucial areas of management accounting. It says you've mastered an exam that only has a 50% pass rate. It says you've distinguished yourself from your peers, all of which makes your business card a keeper. The CMA certification, you've got to earn it. Visit CMAcertification.org for details.
AM 560. The Answer.
Wow, I'm still recovering from Ashley Judd.
She's going to be Mike Scott was just mentioning she may find it difficult to go to a Kentucky basketball game again. She's going to need to be put in the Eichmann booth courtside to go to another Wildcat game. Good grief. Coming up, we've got former Howard Dean campaign manager, Fox News contributor Joe Trippi to give a Democrat perspective on this weekend's festivities.
And within hours after leaving office, Joe Biden slams Donald Trump. Wow. Quite disrespectful. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
39 degrees, winds north at 10. A vote expected later today in the Senate on President Trump's pick for CIA Director. Kansas Representative Mike Pompeo will get some opposition from Democrats. British Prime Minister Theresa May expected to address congressional leaders during meetings later this week, as President Trump is expected as well to travel to Philadelphia to attend congressional Republican retreats. New York Senator Chuck Schumer says he now is adamantly opposed to fellow Senator Alabama's Jeff Sessions as the next U.S. Attorney General.
He has a record on immigration, on voting rights, and on civil rights that is so against what America's all about.
Schumer on CNN's State of the Union. At least 20 people are dead following a weekend deluge of heavy rain, high winds, and flooding in Georgia. High winds alone claimed 18 lives.
This is the most devastating thing I've ever been through.
In Northern California, a woman died when a 125-foot oak tree fell on her apartment. And in Southern California, crews are still searching for a body swept away in a rain-swollen creek. United Airlines says domestic flights are on the move again after being grounded overnight because of a computer glitch. Chicago police are searching for the person who shot and killed a woman outside of an elementary school on the west side. It happened near the corner of Maypole and Laverne. One man is dead following stabbing on Chicago's south side. Authorities say 2 men have survived a fall through the ice on Channel Lake. Lake County Sheriff says they made a rescue about 100 yards from shore. Blackhawks over Vancouver 4-2. College hoops. Northwestern topped Ohio State 74-72. Patriots and Falcons going to the Super Bowl. The news service of Visit Florida. Water that sparkles emerald green. Fresh Gulf seafood that swam this morning. Sand so pristine, well, it glistens sugar white. Get a little sand in your soul this winter. Discover Destin, Fort Walton Beach, and Okaloosa Island. The heart of Florida's Emerald Coast at emeraldcoastfl.com. 7:33 is our time. We'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
For me, it never has been about Trump.
The Joe Walsh Show.
For me, it's about the ideas, it's about the issues, it's about the movement. Go ahead and cut whatever deal you want, but when it comes to people in this country illegally, you ran your campaign, sir. on that issue. You can't walk that back.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
With beaches, theme parks, nightlife, and more, head to Florida for your best winter ever. Plan your vacation at visitflorida.com.
I'm Dan Proft.
And I'm Amy Jacobson.
And we want to say thanks to each and every one of you who helped us to reach our goal of providing food for a year and water for life for 2,000 kids and counting in Haiti and Guatemala.
Your generosity means that these children will have a shot at living a happy and healthy life despite the enormous challenges they face.
And just because the Christmas season is over and we're starting a new year, that doesn't mean the need has gone away. You can still make a difference in the life of a child by making a $50 donation to Food for the Poor. Food for the Poor is one of America's largest and most trusted charities. Since 1982, they've been helping the poorest of the poor by directing resources directly to those in the greatest need.
Just call 855-880-3663. That's 855-880-FOOD, or go to 560theanswer.com, keyword food.
And thanks to the many business benefactors who supported this campaign, when you hear their ads on the radio station this year, we'd ask that you support their businesses as a way of thanking them for their generosity.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to focus in and talk about the big ideas behind the important issues. Enter Upstream Ideas online at upstream-ideas.com. Upstream Ideas, in partnership with the Illinois Policy Institute, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted beliefs. Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now at upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to help encourage you to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit freer, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
7:36, and a check of the roads in our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Inbound Kennedy, delays start around Harlem. It is now an hour and 2 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 39 minutes from Montrose, 27 on the Express. Outbound, 37 minutes to the airport. Eden's 24 minutes. Make that 22 minutes. Lyco to the junction. Outbound 8 is 28. Inbound Eisenhower looking at 51 minutes. Thorndale to the post office. Outbound 40. Stevenson an hour and 2 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 38 minutes. Ryan 32 minutes. 95th to downtown. North on Tri-State heavy in pockets from 87th to the Hinsdale Oasis up to the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. But Adams Tollway before the River Road Toll got a crash in the right lane. Traffic is the service of Office Depot Office Max. For a limited time, at Office Depot Office Max, save 20% on office supplies. Visit OfficeDepot.com/radio to get your 20% off coupon. Office Depot Office Max. Gear up for great. Ends 128. Excludes technology, toner, and ink. See coupon for other restrictions. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Cloudy, 44 today. Partly cloudy and 33 overnight. 37 at O'Hare. Next news at 8. Continuous news coverage at 560theanswer.com. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Grow My Retirement with Bill Geiger of Geiger Wealth. Tune in Saturday afternoons at 2 for Grow My Retirement with Bill Geiger of Geiger Wealth.
Say you want a revolution.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. This just came over the transom. Trump to sign an executive order to withdraw from the Trans-Pacific Partnership trade deal. No surprise there.
Exactly what our last guest told us.
Consistent with the broad strokes of his inaugural address and certainly what he said during the campaign and, his posture towards foreign entanglements, if you will, particularly in trade, where, as George Friedman writes in RealClearPolitics.com, George Friedman from Stratfor had a good piece on kind of translating Trump's foreign policy disposition, saying there is a coherent disposition there, the rhetoric aside, there is a coherent disposition, and he says of trading benefits, Trump's foreign policy and foreign trade It's not clear that the current international trade regime has benefited the United States. International trade is not an end in itself. It must serve the interests of each party, Trump's position. Large multilateral free trade agreements are therefore far too complex to fine-tune to the American interest and need to be avoided in favor of bilateral treaties, which seems to be the direction Trump intends to take, and this executive order is indicative of that. For more on this and a review of the weekend's activities from a Democrat perspective, we're pleased to be joined by our friend Joe Trippi, of course, Fox News contributor, as well as the author of the book, The Revolution Will Not Be Televised. Joe Trippi, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Good to be with you.
So first on some of his executive orders, particularly given what we have just learned in the areas of international trade, this is one of the areas where Trump presents a little bit of a challenge for Democrats, doesn't it? Because actions like this have great appeal among kind of the Bernie Sanders base of the party.
No, that's absolutely true. The other side of that coin, though, is that it also goes against sort of GOP orthodoxy of free markets and those kinds of things. So it's going to be, these executive orders, this one specifically, shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. And it definitely is in keeping with, a major campaign promise or the major rhetoric of his campaign on trade, and, breaking up leaving the TPP, not joining it and being aggressive. The question is, what's that mean? What's the other side of that? And how much of a fight does he have in his own party on some of those trade? I mean, typically it's the Republicans that are for these trade agreements. So it's kind of fascinating to see how this plays out on both sides. But you are right. It's something that will be attractive to a lot of the Sanders and people on the left who also oppose these agreements.
So how do you think Donald Trump's first weekend in office went?
Look, I thought his speech was incredible in the sense that for the first time you had somebody standing there saying, hey, the establishment protected itself. A group of insiders, essentially on both sides, sat here in Washington and made sure they were okay while they did nothing to protect you. That was stunning, and I think right on, given that behind him stood two of the dynasties of that establishment, Bush and Clinton, both those families up there, and a host of senators on both Republicans and Democrat House members, Republican and Democrat, that were part of that establishment. So to make that accusation up there in front of the world, and to say that it's now me and you, meaning Trump and the people, I thought was, a pretty powerful speech. And then, whether it's, we can get into who started the crowd size war, but by the time he's, standing out at Langley, and by the time Sean Spicer goes out and, and sort of injects, more fire on that fight, we're now talking about everything but what I think was probably the most important aspect of the speech.
Right. As Peggy Noonan said of the speech, it was pow, right in the face. Trump presenting himself as a populist independent, not a Republican or even a conservative, but a populist independent. I think that's the right characterization. And I wonder, we've kind of had this running discussion this morning, the picking the fight with the press on crowd size, on treatment, both Trump and then subsequently Sean Spicer. Are they? Do you think that there is real political value in doing so? That Trump not only makes the message to the people from the dais with his inaugural address, but then turns around and continues to pick the fights he knows he can win, at least with a majority of Americans.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, I understand the argument. I would have made it a little differently. It would have behooved them a lot better for Sean Spicer to have walked into that room and said, look, he said the establishment protected itself while the people weren't protected. He meant it. We are running an anti-establishment administration that's going to look out for the people first. And that means you too, media. And we are not going to take the bait. You can argue about crowd size all you want. We're going to argue about jobs, trade policies, and things that are going to. We're not playing your establishment game anymore. And I think that from the podium, instead of getting into the facts about white tarps and how many people rode Metro and who was, which were all wrong anyway. I don't want to say false, but he had bad information, whatever. Just doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm not arguing with what they're trying to do. I just wouldn't have done it that way.
But Sean Spicer's job, though, is to take and answer questions, correct? I mean, have you ever seen a press secretary just get in there and scold the media and then walk out?
Well, no, that's
it's so crazy.
So the whole thing was just that's what I'm saying. I'm not arguing with the posture of Trump administration against the media. That's obviously paid dividends for them throughout the campaign. They may find that a little tougher to gain more points than they already have. In other words, at some point, you start to get dwindling returns on keeping up the same thing. But it still was an unprecedented thing to walk into that room, scold the press, walk out, take no questions, and scold them with facts that just, were easy for many in the press to raise real questions and doubts about it.
Now, how does the left plan to go after Trump? It seems to me from this weekend there's a couple of avenues they're contemplating. One is to just loop Ashley Judd speeches from the National Mall and hope that Trump resigns. The second is this memo from David Brock. He's the head of the American Bridge Super PAC and all kinds of other organizations that Media Matters that go after conservatives and now Trump specifically. This memo that talks about defeating Trump through impeachment specifically. Brock claims to, this is from the Washington Free Beacon, Brock claims to have more than 20,000 hours of video, 289 candidate research books, the largest available archive of Trump research, and he's got a war room up and running, and he says basically that impeachment is the way that we are going to defeat Donald Trump. Is that grounded in reality?
Look, I think the only way to defeat Trump, or the better strategy, is to defeat him at the ballot box. And you've got elections in Virginia governor's race coming up in 2017. If the Republicans win that, if they win the House, continue to win the House in 2018, that's what you want to stop. You want to work on taking the energy that Democrats saw on the streets with the Women's March and other things that have been going on, and take that energy and focus it on winning elections, not just in the usual places, but also trying to win back places like Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. This other stuff, look, it's going to happen. People are going to take the party's in disarray. There's different factions. No one's going to unify behind one way to stop Trump. There's no way to do that. Just as, by the way, the Republicans took them 8 years to figure out with Donald Trump how to unify, pull in everybody, Tea Party and everybody, finally against Obama and the Democrats. It took a long time. Tea Party was going off in one direction. The Republican establishment was going off in another. They fought each other for, over how to do it, what to do. They had successes along the way, but it didn't. It took a long, long time for everybody to get on the same page. That's what's going to happen on the Democratic side, I think.
And something that happened last night that people are talking about this morning is last night Donald Trump had a reception for law enforcement and security officials, and James Comey was there, and he called him out and walked up and gave him a hug. Do you think optically that he shouldn't have done that? I mean, then he also said, James Comey's become more famous than me, and he chuckled.
Well, no, that's the kind of thing, again, perception, reality. There are a lot of Democrats who obviously feel that the Comey, the two letters, were done to help Donald Trump. Fair or not, there are millions of Americans who believe that, and certainly last night didn't do anything to persuade them any different. That's one of the interesting things about Trump. The same thing, frankly, with his inaugural speech. He isn't trying to convince people. Everybody goes, when's he going to make the turn? When's he going to pivot? He's not going to, and he's not even, trying to do some of the things he sort of alluded to working together in his speech, but it wasn't the real focus of his speech. That speech was essentially pointed to those folks who had already voted for him and those folks who were against the establishment in Washington. Frankly, that's what Sean Spicer going out in the briefing room was about. That appealed to people who have come to conclude already that the media is out to get Donald Trump and we're not going to take it anymore.
It seems like I'm sorry to interrupt, but it seems like the left is dug in a bit as well. I mean, I don't know what your thought is on how effective or helpful the weekend marches were in terms of the optics and the speeches coming out of those marches.
Well, I mean, the activism part of it, the numbers were certainly dramatic and positive in terms of the energy that frankly wasn't there for Hillary Clinton before the election. I mean, even though probably most of those people voted for her, that energy just wasn't there. That energy is now there, caused by Trump and not by her. And now the issue is, what do you do with it? And I agree with you. There are plenty of things said from those podiums that probably weren't helpful, or were just as repulsive to the Trumps and people on the fence as some of the things that Trump did during the campaign the other way. So it's going to be a long time before this country comes back together. I mean, that's the real lesson of the weekend. It's clear this isn't going to be even, after George Bush won in 2000 over Gore, there were these kinds of tensions, but there was, for the most part, the traditional weekend and everything kind of played out of people, handing olive branches to each other and trying to go through the semblance of working together. That's just not what we're seeing right now. And I'm not putting that on Trump. It's on everybody, the two sides. It's just become even more polarized.
Yeah, I agree with that. He is Joe Trippi, former campaign manager for Howard Dean, Fox News contributor, author of the book, The Revolution Will Not Be Televised. Joe, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Great to be with you guys.
And he joined us on our Turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Ljubljana. I want you to think about that.
What?
Ljubljana.
Ljubljana. Okay.
It's the capital of Slovenia.
Oh, yeah.
You still have some make goods with Melania to do, so I want you to be promoting Slovenia.
I drove through it last summer. Beautiful country. Spotless, not a piece of garbage anywhere. Today, mostly cloudy, a high of 44. And then tomorrow, more of the same. Let's go to our newly decorated. They have gold drapes, just like the White House Oval Office has now. The Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here is the one and only Jim Talamonte.
Good morning. On the Tri-State southbound, it's slow from 21 to Oak Plain. Northbound from Archer to LaGrange Road. From Stevenson to 31st and Roosevelt to the Grand Avenue Curve. Adams Tollway eastbound delays are from Manheim to the Tri-State, where there's a crash in the right lane. Reagan Tollway is just fine. The Veterans Memorial heavy. 63rd to the Reagan Tollway. The Army Trail toll to 290. Eden's 20 minutes. Lake Hook to Montrose outbound 27. Kennedy, an hour and 4 minutes. O'Hare to downtown outbound 40 minutes. The Ike, an hour and 3 minutes. Thorndale to the post office. And outbound an hour and 7 minutes. Got a crash partly blocking the exit to northbound 83. So most of those outbound delays are on the extension. Stevenson, an hour and 6 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan, 30 minutes. 95th to downtown. I'm Jim Talamonte and the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Hey, if you aren't getting a great night's sleep, then I suggest you order a MyPillow today and start the year off right. MyPillow is a patented interlocking fill that adjusts to your individual sleep needs. Washable, dryable, made in the good old US of A, and guaranteed not to go flat for 10 years. Now, the new year is here, so I suggest you resolve to sleep better and feel better. The best offer is still available. When you buy one MyPillow, you'll receive another MyPillow absolutely free. Plus, get 2 free Go Anywhere pillows. You're guaranteed to be satisfied. So here's what you do. Visit MyPillow.com. Click the radio listener special tab and use the promo code Amy You'll get 2 premium My Pillows, 2 Go Anywhere pillows, all for the price of 1. So start the year off right or call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201.
You've heard of living trusts and how they can help protect your assets, but you may not know if a living trust is right for you. Or maybe you have questions about creating your own living trust. The fact is, almost everyone can benefit from a living trust, which can protect your assets from the court system and your loved ones from unnecessary expense and inconvenience. Learn more at a free seminar Wednesday, January 25th. Estate planning attorney Robert Zapolis will explain how to create your own living trust, estate planning under the new tax laws, why a will does not avoid probate, and more. Have your estate planning and living trust questions answered absolutely free. Don't miss this important seminar Wednesday, January 25th at 6:30 p.m. at Papa Joe's Restaurant, 145th and LaGrange Road in Orland Park. The seminar is free and a complimentary dinner is served, but you must make a reservation now. Call 708-478-1400. Call 708-478-1400. Again, 708-478-1400.
If I only had more leads, if I only had more prospects to sell to. Sound familiar? The Sales Prospecting Group is ready to help you take your business to the next level. The Sales Prospecting Group is a local Chicagoland company that has helped hundreds of companies nationwide to secure new business by getting them in the door. The Sales Prospecting Group will get you appointments with qualified prospects to help you grow your business. They don't use contract labor or offshore callers. Their in-house staff of business account executives are highly trained, professional, and effective. The Sales Prospecting Group will build a custom campaign specifically for your business. They know how to navigate complex corporate hierarchies to get to the right people and get you connected with them. The Sales Prospecting Group specializes exclusively on B2B sales. Call the Sales Prospecting Group now to learn how they could help your business grow in 2017. 630-701-9052. 630-701-9052. The Sales Prospecting Group. It's time to grow.
Hey, Cube mates. Anyone else looking forward to that exciting quarterly meeting today?
Sure. Another company lunch with bland sandwiches and a side of boring whatever. Can't wait.
Are you guys kidding? Obviously you haven't heard. We're having tasty catering today. Look out, I'm gonna go grab my seat.
Get more out of your meetings and company events. It's time to get tasty. Tasty Catering's brand new corporate catering menu has the spice and flavor your team will love. Dine on menu items like a roasted vegetable hummus sandwich, honey sriracha pork chops, and all of their brand new chef creations. Powering productive meetings day or night, Tasty Catering professionals help you plan the perfect chef-crafted menu. Their leading chefs cook up your catering, then the Tasty Catering ambassadors deliver and set up for your event. When your team is finished experiencing their delicious meal, they come back to break it down and clean it all up. Simple and delicious. Visit tastycatering.com to get started today and find their brand new corporate menu along with comments from other Tasty Catering clients. tastycatering.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I had gout in both my knees, and it's gone.
Well, I'm pretty stupid. I should have ordered it 15 years ago. It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life.
He had eczema on his hand, and it cracked for years. He did anything from doctor, every cream, everything. And 3 months on the veggies and fruit, it was gone.
They're just awesome. They keep asking me, what am I doing? I told them what I did with my cholesterol. I had the blood test, right? And it went down 100 points. 262, now it's 162. Everything is just perfect.
Balance of Nature is celebrating its 20th anniversary by providing you the best offer they've ever given. 2 free months of fruits and veggies and free shipping. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
Can you feel it? 2017 is going to be an exciting year for your business. You're going to be busy and can't afford to miss a beat. When you need exceptional interim help or need to recruit new talent to meet the demands of your growing business in the new year, rely on Flex Execs. For almost 30 years, Flex Execs has been supplying Chicago area businesses with mid to senior level talent in HR, finance, accounting, marketing, and operations. Whether you need one person or a team of people, either interim talent or new recruits, Flex Execs is ready to make it easy for your business to meet your deadlines and goals, control costs, and place the right people to help you deliver results. You know how finding the right people to drive your company is critical. Flex Execs makes it easy. Connect online today at flex2017.com. That's flex2017.com. Or call 630-655-0563 and talk to Chris Swanson or Karen Murphy. Flex Execs, moving business at the speed of trust.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Faisal Khan joins us to tell us what 3 things Chicago must do to fight corruption. I assume one of them is everybody resign. We'll find out at 8:08.
And is CNN responsible for elder abuse? We'll explain. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, Illinois lawmakers returning to Springfield this week. Could the grand bargain get derailed? United Airlines ground some flights overnight because of computer issues. Aaron Schock will get a new judge and a new courtroom as his case continues to proceed. Kings of Leon postponing their United Center show. We'll tell you why. And the Blackhawks turn back the Canucks while Northwestern beat Ohio State. Cloudy ahead, high of 44, partly cloudy overnight, a low of 33. Full forecast after Fox, WIND Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. Candidate Trump railed against what he called stupid trade deals. Now he's president and ready to take action against 2 big ones. Fox's John Decker live at the White House.
A White House official says the president will sign an executive order stating his intention to renegotiate NAFTA, the free trade agreement between the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. He'll also sign an order to withdraw the U.S. from the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement. He'll also have a chance to lay the groundwork for a trade deal with Great Britain during a meeting Friday with British Prime Minister Theresa May. Mr. Trump is about to meet with business leaders. Tonight, he'll welcome congressional leaders to the White House. Dave?
John, President Trump's facing a lawsuit. Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics plan to file it today, claiming he is violating the Constitution that prohibits him from receiving anything of value from foreign governments, all because he did not divest from his businesses. The president has handed over control to his sons, and the White House says there are no conflicts. 2 robbers are facing charges in Texas the day after a jewelry store heist at a mall in San Antonio went bad.
One citizen who tried to stop them was shot and killed. Another citizen then shot and wounded one of the robbers. Officer Doug Green says the second suspect wrecked a stolen car and 2 guns in the car tied him to the shooting.
This individual is going to be facing capital murder charges, as well as 2 counts of aggravated assault.
That's for the shooting of 2 shoppers as the man was making his getaway. The shoppers and the other robber are hospitalized, along with several others who suffered injuries as the mall was being evacuated. In San Antonio, Jim Forsyth, Fox News.
There's up to 15 people dead in Georgia the day after nasty storms hit. Many of them were in a mobile home park thrashed by a tornado. This woman's apartment complex was damaged in Albany.
I panicked, and it's not a very good sight. I was trying to keep calm, maintain, but it was really hard to do so.
Storms also did damage from Louisiana to the Carolinas. 4 other people died in Mississippi. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
39 degrees. We have winds north at 10, giving us a bit of a wind chill, around 30 this morning at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. United Airlines says domestic flights are on the move again. They were grounded late Sunday night because of a computer glitch. The ground stop lasting for about 2.5 hours. Chicago police are searching for the person who shot and killed a woman. It happened outside of an elementary school on the west side. The victim was found lying on a sidewalk near Maypole and Laverne. The shooting happened near the Spencer Elementary Technology Academy. Illinois lawmakers will get an earful about the state that Illinois is in this week. But what they'll do to try and change it is still up in the air. Lawmakers return tomorrow. Debates over taxes, pension, and debt, and the grand bargain now up for grabs. Governor Rauner set to deliver his State of the State speech on Wednesday. A former federal prosecutor who became a judge in 2013 has been assigned to handle the corruption case against former U.S. Representative Aaron Schock. U.S. District Court Chief Judge James Shadid assigned that case to Judge Colin Bruce, who presides over a courtroom in Urbana. Kings of Leon postponing tonight's show at the UC. Tennessee Rockers have rescheduled the concert for March 8th because drummer Nathan Followill has been diagnosed with pneumonia. Now, those tickets you may hold will be honored on the new date or gladly refunded. Jonathan Taves with the tiebreaker and the Blackhawks on their way to a 4-2 win over Vancouver. College hoops, Northwestern won at Ohio State for the first time since 1977, 74-72. The news, a service of the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation, Someone you know is suffering from Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis. They're dealing with excruciating pain and days when they won't be able to get out of bed. Help someone you know and support the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America, ccfa.org. 8:04 is our time. Time for the WIND AM 560 Business Beat from the Fox Business Network. It is a service of Turnkey.pro, and here is Jenny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, Samsung says it was battery problems that caused its Galaxy Note 7 to overheat and possibly even catch fire. The first battery had a case that was too small. The replacement batteries had quality control issues caused by the manufacturers stepping up production. We could be seeing more telecom mergers under the Trump administration, says J.P. Morgan Securities. J.P. Morgan says T-Mobile could be involved in a merger with Sprint or could be acquired by a cable company. Oil services company Halliburton's quarter was better than expected, though its sales were disappointing. Halliburton lost money, but Wall Street was expecting an even weaker quarter. And there's a recall of Sierra Nevada beer because some of its bottles could break. 8 beer brands are being recalled. The Dow added 94 points on Friday. NASDAQ gained 15. S&P was up 7. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Ginny Cosola.
8:05 in Chicago. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
You need to understand that the way you build wealth is you do not use the evening news or CNN or Fox to set the tone of your emotions around your investing.
The Dave Ramsey Show.
If you're thinking of changing your investing patterns because you're watching the news, you need to turn off the news. You are in charge of your destiny.
Dave Ramsey. Weeknights starting at 7. Presented by Wintrust Community Bank on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and guess that you're probably driving right now. Sitting comfortably behind the wheel with a tasty caffeinated beverage in your cup holder. Well, if you were driving with Uber, you could be earning money right now too. That's because Uber is the ultimate side hustle. Extra cash whenever you want. Earning you can turn on and off, just like your car. This isn't just another job, it's a totally flexible way to earn. So go ahead, get your side hustle on. Visit uber.com/drive now. That's uber.com/drive now.
How do you become America's best-selling brand? Test drive a Ford Escape and find out. With available EcoBoost power and a host of class-exclusive features designed to make life better. Compare Ford Escape next to a Toyota RAV4 or Honda CR-V, and the reasons start to stack up. The 2017 Escape. That's Ford. And that's how you become America's best-selling brand. Sales claim based on 2016 calendar year sales.
8:06. Let's get a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the inbound Edens, it's heavy around Elston. 20 minutes like Cook to Montrose, outbound 26. Kennedy is an hour and 4 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 44 minutes from Montrose, 33 on the Express. Outbound 18 minutes to Montrose, 40 to the airport. Eisenhower an hour and 3 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, 44 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 34 minutes to Manheim, an hour 10 to Thorndale. It's really backed up out to 83, where there was an earlier crash on the ramp. Stevenson, an hour and 5 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Southbound 55 is jammed. Renwick Road to 30 for the crash of the 2 left lanes. Ryan, 33 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound, heavy 21 to Will Plain. Northbound Archer to LaGrange Road. The Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis and Roosevelt to the Grand Avenue Curve. Veterans Memorial delays. The Fountain Toll to the Reagan Tollway and from the Army Trail Toll to 290. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center, here's meteorologist Michael Stack.
Mostly cloudy skies seen all around the area. Today's high 44. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, low 34. Mostly cloudy Tuesday, high 43. Considerably cloudy skies with a rain or snow shower in spots Wednesday, high 43. I'm Michael Stack on AM 560, The Answer.
37 at O'Hare, 38 along the lakefront. Your next news update, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by In the Know with Wealth Management Group, hosted by Craig Bolanos. Heard Sunday mornings at 10.
Good morning. Welcome to your Monday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
We are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people.
There's been a lot of talk in the media about the responsibility to hold Donald Trump accountable. And I'm here to tell you that it goes two ways. We're going to hold the press accountable as well.
I am a nasty woman.
I'm sorry, why'd you start that fire?
Because I felt like it, and because I'm just saying, screw our president.
Okay, well, there you have it.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Amy, you know why I like talking to Faisal Khan?
Why?
Because he's one of the few other individuals in Chicago tilting at windmills like I am. Faisal Khan, of course, is the CEO of Project 6. He's a former legislative inspector general for the Chicago City Council. Also came to us from New York, where he was inspector general for the City Council in New York City. Served under both Giuliani and Bloomberg, so he knows a little bit about big city politics. And so far with his Project 6 group, since he was ousted as Inspector General because he didn't understand that Tiny Dancer and the City Council didn't actually want him to do any investigating. He was just there to look pretty. Mm-hmm. He has been responsible for a couple of big moments just in the last several weeks. One, Alderman Brendan Riley's chief of staff resigning because she was a walking conflict of interest. Number two, the federal indictment of Alderman Willie Cochran on corruption-related charges. And he's written a piece in the Sun-Times that's worth a look. 3 things Chicago must do to fight corruption. I assume number 1 is for all the politicians in office to be recalled, but we'll ask Faisal Khan if that is indeed one of the 3. Faisal, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning, guys.
Morning. So 3 things Chicago must do to fight corruption. All right. Try and persuade us.
Dan, Amy, it starts with 3 things, unfortunately. It doesn't end at 3 things, but the first thing they should really do is rewrite this entire ethics law. We have one of the weakest, most archaic ethics laws in the country here in Chicago, and it really needs to go. Start fresh, start rewriting it. Don't use aldermen to rewrite the law. Use outside sources, professors, legal scholars, people who know what other places are like, who haven't lived here in Chicago their entire life and think this is normal.
Why is the ethics law so weak? What specifically?
Well, specifically, for instance, there's confidentiality provisions built into it that protect the elected officials of the city. So, in other words, you and I will never know, as taxpayers, who's being investigated for what, and even if they are being investigated and then being prosecuted, you and I will never know what the deal is. Even after a finding is made, we'll never find out which alderman or other elected official was involved in wrongdoing. So what's the point then? Where's the deterrence effect? How does a taxpayer get to know who's screwing them? We'll never find that out.
But
that's one example of it.
All right.
There's also the penalty phase, where the penalties are so weak and so rarely enforced here in Chicago that there's no point in having them on the books. Dan just cited the 42nd Ward or Alderman Riley. You know, we wouldn't have known about that had we not done a lot of digging. That was supposed to be reported to the Board of Ethics as a conflict, that Ms. Doring was a lobbyist, yet she was still able to be hired without somebody even raising an eyebrow.
But
so these are the kind of examples we're talking about.
But what about Alderman Cochran's indictment? Didn't that show that it was effective oversight and ethics enforcement?
No, I mean, Amy, we're talking about Mr. Cochran's behavior goes as far back as 2013, at least what we could investigate, and imagine how further it goes back from there. The reality is we, as the Legislative Inspector General's office, were shut down, and we had no resources and no staff, and really made our lives difficult to do our job. So despite that, we were able to get through and find out what Mr. Cochran was doing, but we weren't able to go through regular sources to get that done. We had to go to the U.S. Attorney's Office. With the shutdown of our office now, we don't know who's looking at what at this point.
So number one is the ethics ordinance that needs to be overhauled and toughened up. Number two, the Chicago Board of Ethics. What has to happen there?
It's got to go. It's simply just got to go and get rebuilt and come up with something much better than what we have now. It is ineffective. It's been known as the do-nothing board for a long time. It doesn't enforce the law. The Board of Ethics were the ones that decided it's okay for aldermen to take tickets to the World Series and other events. They've been doing that for years. We simply don't know how they operate, and we do know that they often try to make things work for aldermen rather than make things work for taxpayers.
And
so they have to go too.
And number three?
And number three, basically, we have 5 investigative agencies in the city who do inspector general jobs. 5. As little as 2 years ago, we had 7. They need to be consolidated. We simply don't have the money in Chicago anymore where we can spread it around 4 or 5 different people to do the same job. Let's combine them up. Let's have accountability with one standard, one law, one set of one budget, and go from there.
Let me ask you a question, a global question, particularly with the change in power in D.C. What about doing something in Chicago like the Estes Kefauver hearings back 60-plus years ago that looked into organized crime in the country? What about federal oversight, if you will, or a federal hearing initiated maybe by some members of our congressional delegation in Illinois to look into political corruption as the new organized crime in cities like Chicago and states like Illinois?
I think that'd be great. I think that there's obviously room for that conversation at this point here. We have such a problem. We have such a bad history. All of our governors have gone to jail. So many aldermen have gone to jail. State representatives have gone to jail. Sooner or later, somebody's got to own this problem. And if it's not going to be our local leaders, somebody else has to take over and do that.
Let me ask you, you're a former federal prosecutor. In addition, that's another aspect of your resume and professional background, so you're ideally suited to answer this question. Federal prosecutors in Chicago. When it comes to Chicago and the city council, they take the low-hanging fruit. It's easy to pick off the idiot alderman who takes a $500 bribe for a zoning change, and that's what they've gotten over the last 30 years and 3 dozen aldermen. But the walking conflicts of interest who've enriched themselves to the tune of tens of millions of dollars, like Ed Burke, get a pass. And I wonder if there is some blame to be put at 219 South Dearborn for taking the easy cases, because the real power brokers, the real corruption is complicated to prosecute, and the real purveyors of it are difficult to get. And so they pass on the difficult cases to get the easy ones, to get scalps on their wall, rather than trying to change the culture of corruption in this city.
Those are good points, Dan. First, I was a state prosecutor, not a federal prosecutor.
State prosecutor, excuse me.
But I wanted to. Your argument is sound. The concern is obviously that you're right, that we've seen low-hanging fruit come off the tree for a long time now. Now, in the U.S. Attorney's Office, we don't know what they're investigating and what they look at. They do take a lot of time to investigate some of the things that they do. My problem with them, or what I've seen over the years, is that they're certainly more of a reactionary board or a reactionary office rather than a proactive one, as you point out. And that could be for a number of reasons. It could be resources and, being spread thin here in Chicago. But I think everyone would agree, you, me, and all of your listeners, that politics here in Chicago should be priority one. This culture of corruption should be the number one priority, whether you treat it as organized crime, whether you treat it as the number one problem that faces the state. It's got to be right up there. So, and I think we can all agree that there's simply not enough being done about it. And that's why Project 6 exists. That's why I hope we can do some of the things that other places aren't doing. But your point is absolutely sound, that somebody's got to pay more attention to this.
Like Judicial Watch was the shadow attorney general during the Obama years, Project 6 is the shadow prosecutor's office during the ongoing Democrat hegemony in Chicago. He is Faisal Khan. He's the CEO of Project 6, former legislative inspector general for the Chicago City Council. Faisal, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Today, mostly cloudy, a high of 44, and then tomorrow, more of the same, but a little bit chillier, a high of 42 degrees. Let's go into our alarm detection systems traffic center. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. And your inbound Kennedy delays started Foster. It's just over an hour, 61 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 40 from Montrose, 34 in the Express. Outbound 15 minutes to Montrose, 39 to O'Hare. Edens, 20 minutes like Cook to Montrose, outbound 25. The Eisenhower, an hour and 12 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, outbound an hour 10. Jammed Central to 83, where a crash is gone now. Stevenson, an hour and 5 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound just 35 minutes, but farther south. And traffic's at a standstill from Renwick to 30, where there's a crash in the two left lanes. Bryan, 32 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State delays are in pockets from the Stevenson to 31st, then Roosevelt to the Grand Avenue curve. Adams Tollway slow lead to the Tri-State, with the crash now blocking two right lanes. Veterans Memorial slow from the Boughton Toll to the Reagan Tollway, the Army Trail Toll to 290. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Services Traffic Center.
The website, upstream-ideas.com. Go there, sign up today for premium content that complements what we do here on this show, including our last guest, Faisal Khan. Got a Against the Current long-form interview with Faisal from a couple of months ago. This week, we're going to interview Bernie Judge. That will be posted this week, longtime Chicago newsman, about the state of media locally and nationally, what's fake news and what isn't. That's Against the Current, 60-second commentaries, podcasts of our Illinois Rising show. That's a Sunday program that focuses on Illinois politics and policy, this week featuring a discussion of this phony baloney budget deal being advanced by Senate Republican leader Christine Radogno and Senate President John Cullerton, as well as our Man on the Street Follow the Logic series, which features this week those attendees to Obama's farewell address. It's all at upstream-ideas.com.
Hey, Sean Hannity here with some exciting automotive news. Nissan dealers in the Midwest are set for a record-breaking year in 2017. Now, demand is going to be way up, but room must be made at local dealerships, just like Woodfield Nissan in Hoffman Estates. And the good news for you is this is your chance to save big on all the remaining 2016 Nissans. Woodfield Nissan has a huge selection of 2016 Nissan Altimas, Sentras, and Rogues now available at clearance pricing. Get Woodfield Nissan's lowest price on a Nissan Sentra, clearance price for only $12,995. A 2016 Nissan Rogue clearance price for only $15,995, and a 2016 Nissan Altima clearance priced at $15,295. Woodfield Nissan has a massive Nissan inventory and massive Nissan savings all month long. The real 2016 Nissan year-end clearance has begun and is for a limited time at Woodfield Nissan, just 2 miles west of the Woodfield Shopping Mall at Golf and Higgins, or just go to woodfieldnissan.com.
Prices are plus tax, title, license, and doc fee and are pre-driven. Stock numbers Rogue number P9045, Ultima number P9110, Sentra number P9111.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. I went from being able to work 14, 16 hours a day with no problem to where I could barely walk a block to the store. I went on to the phytonutrients about 6 months ago, and within a couple of months, my medical doctor had cut my prescriptions down in a little bit smaller dosage. The next time I went back a month later, I walked into the doctor's office and he says, "My gosh, what's happened to you? You don't even look like the same person." He looked at my legs and the swelling had gone down. My blood pressure was down. The venous stasis ulcers that I had had on my legs for the last 4 or 5 years because of the poor circulation were all healed, and I'm feeling far better.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free, and we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
Hey, did you hear what Dick Durbin is doing? Nope, must have missed it. Well, he's decided that rather than address the big issues like health care and taxes, he's going to play games with the Supreme Court. He may join a crazy effort to block a Supreme Court nominee forever.
That's so ridiculous. I mean, it made sense not to do anything with the court during the middle of the election, but now it's time to move on.
Totally. And what bothers me the most is it's like he's forgotten who he represents. I mean, Crime is out of control right now. Just look at Chicago. Every single day, there's some horrifying new headline.
Yeah, and look what's happened downstate. The drug epidemic is terrorizing small towns. It's ripping families apart and turning the countryside into a problem area just like Chicago.
He needs to get it together. He needs to pay attention to us again and work on our problems. We have plenty.
Yeah, Dick Durbin shouldn't be grandstanding about a Supreme Court nominee and creating more gridlock. We deserve better than that.
Paid for by Judicial Crisis Network.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, well, the outgoing regime didn't appreciate what Donald Trump had to say during his inaugural address. Imagine that. Barack Obama was rolling his eyes and trying to find his happy place. And
Michelle looked like she was so salty the whole time. I mean, she was not happy when they came into the White House. And when they were leaving, she looked like she was crying.
A lot of internet memes generated by the facial expressions, as well as the leering of one Bill Clinton in the direction of, the fair-haired Trumps, Melania and Ivanka.
I mean, this is our closest thing to royalty. That's why people watch the inauguration. But they were ripping on Donald Trump, President Trump, for criticizing him for not being respectful during the speech. And then Joe Biden, when he left, he got into the limo, went to the Amtrak station, does what he does best, and rides Amtrak.
Sure.
And when he got back to Delaware, he made a really sickening, I think, remark about President Trump. And this is literally an hour after he walked away from the Capitol.
The President of the United States does not know where he's going for sure. No. I don't mean that as a criticism. I don't mean that as a criticism.
No, it's not a criticism.
If you look at the cabinet he's put around him, Pete, there are people with some very talented people with very strong disagreements among themselves. This is a man who's never been engaged in public life before. And so one of the things I'm going to try to do, and Barack and I have talked about this, we're going to try to be of assistance any way we can, because it's in the best interest of the country.
Apparently they exchanged cell phone numbers, too. They're going to help him. They're going to be here for him.
That's a different tone than I heard from the marches over the weekend, and a different tone than I heard from David Brock or read about David Brock. Media Matters flack for Clintons and the left, talking about how they're going to defeat Trump through impeachment. What I heard over the weekend was, more like this, trying to distinguish this from anything you heard from the alleged adults over the weekend.
This fire was started. In fact, this young man, you were participating in the fire. What's your name?
My name's Connor, and I actually kind of started this fire.
So why'd you start that fire, Carter?
It's Connor.
Sorry, why'd you start that fire?
Because I felt like it, and because I'm just saying, screw our president.
Okay, well, there you have it. So-
yeah, there you have it. There you have it.
This reporter's stunned. Why wasn't that kid in school? Huh? Where's this parent? Carter, what's your last name? Are you being truant?
If that's our future, I'm selling my bonds. But this is what was on display. It's right. It's the race to the bottom of vulgarity. We decry Trump's vulgarity, admitted vulgarity, over the years and even during the campaign by one-upping him with our vulgarity. Work the logic of that for me. Now, on the flip side, some rhetorical changes to the White House website that are worth noting. The White House website, dropped all mentions of climate change and global warming and replaced it with the closest approximation of its replacement was Trump's American First Energy Plan, which leads to a statement about Trump's broad goals in terms of U.S. energy policies focusing on protectionist being protective of resources and so forth, but also being energy independent. Like that. Also, this scrubbed mentions of any, without the brand name, Black Lives Matter type rhetoric, anti-police rhetoric, and replaced that with a standing up for our law enforcement community section on the official White House webpage. So, language is important.
And back real quick to the Obamas. I know you don't want to talk about them, but Barack Obama, he got his Twitter handle back, and he said that Michelle and I are on a brief vacation but we're going to come back soon because there's a lot of work to be done. And I'm afraid with the liberal media, stationed in Washington, D.C., that they might just get briefings every day from former President Barack Obama.
Well,
honestly, he's not receding. He
No,
is going to be front and present.
No, unlike the Oceans, he is not receding. But I like his involvement because his political involvement is the reason that Trump is in the White House and the Democrats are the super minority party in the country. So if he wants to continue building on that in advance of the 2018 midterms, I'm all for it. That's why I'm all for all the people that turned out for those women's P marches in D.C. and everywhere else, 250,000 in Chicago too. Please continue to demonstrate who you are. Let's share the pictures. Let's share the speeches, share the comments, and then let people decide if that's the side of the skirmish line they want to be recorded as having stood. Ralph in Rantoul, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning. I enjoyed these comments about, possible tension within Trump's cabinet. Well, come on. Of course there's going to be tension there. It involves people. But, Kerry had internal tension. Wasn't he the guy famously who was for something before he was against something? That's a conflict inside his own brain. And by the way, if Obama comes back and he wants to go on the air, he should go on Oprah's network because it could be like, rather than 24/7 Oprah repeats, it could be Obama in there as well and further drive down increase her losses, further drive down her viewership. It could be Obama with Nutton Network because that's what it was for the last 8 years.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Chris Veldman of ServiceMaster DSI, the largest ServiceMaster franchise in the United States and a customer of Signature Bank. In our business, we respond to disaster, and we never know when disaster will strike, whether it's flooding in Louisiana or a house fire in Chicago. Not all banks understand that need for flexibility, but Signature Bank does. That's why we consider them so much more than a bank. They have been our business partner since 2006, when their three co-founders, Mick, Kevin, and Brian, started the bank. Signature Bank is a key part of our growth strategy at ServiceMaster DSI.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Call in with your favorite screeds, diatribes, rants, placards, costumes from the women's P marches in Chicago, in D.C., in London, anywhere and everywhere at 8:38.
And don't you dare touch my taco. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
39 degrees. Outside, we have cloudy skies. The Senate Foreign Relations Committee expected to vote this afternoon on President Donald Trump's nominee to be Secretary of State. Senator Marco Rubio of Florida clashed with nominee Rex Tillerson at committee hearings earlier this month, but over the weekend, Tillerson got a big boost from Senators John McCain and Lindsey Graham. President Donald Trump may sign an executive order as soon as this morning, saying he wants to renegotiate NAFTA. Trump has said the trade deal enacted in 1994 has sent U.S. jobs to Canada and Mexico. Trump is also holding meetings with business and labor leaders today. At least 20 are dead following a weekend of heavy rain, high winds, and flooding from Texas to North Carolina.
You literally have a trailer park that looks like it's been disintegrated. You literally have just smatterings of what used to be homes thrown into the woods.
7 million people in Florida at this hour under tornado watches. Sierra Nevada Brewing recalling bottled beer in almost 3 dozen states and the District of Columbia. Some 12-ounce bottles have a flaw that could allow glass to break and fall inside the bottle. United Airlines domestic flights are on the move again after being grounded Sunday because of a computer problem. Chicago police are searching for the person who shot and killed a woman outside an elementary school on the west side. The victim, a woman, found early this morning near the corner of Maypole and Laverne. Illinois lawmakers will get an earful about the state, that is Illinois, this week. But what they'll do to try and change it is still up in the air as lawmakers return to the Capitol tomorrow. The governor set to deliver his State of the State speech on Wednesday. Blackhawks beat Vancouver 4-2. College hoops in the Big Ten. Northwestern topped Ohio State 74-72. Patriots and Falcons going to the Super Bowl. The news service of LifeLock. Grabbing coffee or breakfast, if you swipe your card, you leave a trail of digital information thieves can use to steal your identity. Ever hear of LifeLock? Their U.S.-based team of specialists help resolve identity theft problems. Go to LifeLock.com now. Use promo code RISK to save 10%. 8:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The Mike Gallagher Show.
Today's Democratic Party, the party that thinks it's unreasonable to expect that a voter show their ID in order to cast a ballot. It's just blatant. They are just on the side. I don't know how else you describe it. If you're a Democrat and you resent this accusation, please call me. When I say Democrats are on the side of lawlessness, tell me where I'm wrong.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Life can get a little hectic, so good sleep really matters. With a Beautyrest Silver mattress, you'll wake up refreshed and ready to go. Embrace the day ahead. Get the sleep you deserve. Get Beautyrest Silver.
If you own a business, you'll do everything you can to keep the lights on. The thing is, keeping those lights on can be much more cost-effective than you ever imagined. And Twin Supplies can help. Twin Supplies specializes in helping businesses, public entities, and nonprofits get energy efficient with their lighting and take advantage of incentives from utility companies to help with energy improvement costs. From restaurants to schools, churches, and stadiums, they'll walk you through every step to realize maximum money savings and energy efficiency. Your maintenance staff will spend less time changing bulbs with worry-free fixtures that feature up to a 10-year warranty. Plus, the quality of your lighting will improve, resulting in improved working conditions and safety. Find out how much your commercial business can save with a free energy audit from Twin Supplies. Utility companies change their incentives frequently and funds can run out. Now is the time to take action. Don't wait. Call 630-590-5138 or log on to twinsupplies.net and take charge of your business's energy efficiency. Twinsupplies.net.
Hi, I'm Tom Sadeka, President and CEO of Precision Payroll of America. I'm reaching out to you today and asking you to take a look at your business relationships from a different angle. Have you ever wondered what organizations and causes your vendors support? I have, and it's eye-opening. Our nation is divided, and normal traditional values are coming under attack by heavily financed aggressors. I can tell you that we do not and will never support hood and matter. We do support our veterans, our students fighting for truth, and yes, AM 560. If you currently use or need a payroll service, please let's meet. If you have no need, please consider the other advertisers on this station, as we are all fighting the same fight and we need to unite. To work together, call me at 630-242-1507. That's 630-242-1507. On the web at precisionpayroll.com. Let's talk, let's meet, let's unite.
8:36. Let's get a check of the roads in our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the inbound Kennedy, traffic is bottled up between Foster and the Hubbard Street Tunnel. It's 57 minutes O'Hare to downtown, 38 from Montrose, 33 in the Express. Outbound 35 minutes to the airport. Eden's 20 minutes, Lake Cook to the junction. Outbound 24, the Eisenhower. Now an hour and 12 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. 53 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 30 to Manheim, 59 to Thorndale. Stevenson, 58 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 34 minutes. Earlier crash farther south, 30 has cleared. Ryan, 32 minutes, 95th to downtown. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business. Since 1935, cloudy and 44 today, partly cloudy and 33 overnight. 39 at O'Hare. Next news at 9, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Fly By Night with Ken Severa. Heard Saturday evenings at midnight here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Your favorite placards, internet memes, snippets from speeches from delicate flowers like Madonna or Ashley Judd, costumes. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Here's a fun story. Women's March.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll start, and then you go. You give us your
talk
favorites.
About the tacos.
Hello. One is this from the Washington Post that the Women's March, the men matter too, with a guy holding up a sign that says "My wife is pissed." That's right. A related internet meme. Millions of men are enjoying the peace and quiet today.
Oh.
Hello. But this from Abby Johnson, a friend of the show. She's a former Planned Parenthood clinic director turned pro-life leader. She, with a small group of feminists, showed up for the march with placards that read, "Real feminists reject abortion, life empowers women," and the like. And Abby Johnson is pregnant, by the way, visibly pregnant. She writes on a Facebook post, "Things didn't get crazy until we joined another pro-life group. I think as a large group, we were seen as a threat. That's when a group of 3 people came barreling into me and knocked me onto the road." She's pregnant, by the way, visibly pregnant. "It was definitely deliberate, but I honestly expected much worse. Thanks to the Women's March team who formed a security line to protect us after I got pushed into the road." There's your tolerance from the left. They don't want pro-lifers there, and to the extent they're there, they get assaulted. So that's fun.
Well, I just asked, because I knew a lot of people that went, and why? What's your message? What are you trying to accomplish? And they don't like the language that Donald Trump has used. They don't like the way he treats women, and they want to make sure that he doesn't trample on any of their rights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's a great piece by Katie Hopkins in the Daily Mail, basically suggesting that if you're going to have a march, have a point. It makes it so much more interesting for the viewers. She writes in part, They will not be silenced, that's clear, but they don't know what it is they're shouting about. Anger is not enough. A shared sense of victimhood is not sufficient to make change happen. If you win, if you offer a clear vision supported by the strength to get things done, not just because you are a woman, and the entire march was about women's reproductive parts, at least if you listen to the likes of Madonna and Ashley Judd, and if you looked at so much of the signage. Here's Madonna, the Material Girl, with her measured, thoughtful remarks.
Welcome to the revolution of love, to the rebellion, to our refusal as women to accept this new age of tyranny, where not just women are in danger, but all marginalized people.
She wasn't specific about the precise danger, but the revolution of love, boy, that kind of cut in and out, and you'll get what I mean when you hear what Madonna's message is to March detractors.
And to our detractors that insist that this march will never add up to anything, you.
All right, F you to your detractors. I don't know how that squares with the revolution of love, nor do I know how this squares with the revolution of love.
Yes, I'm angry. Yes, I am outraged. Yes, I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
And the crowd seemed to like this very much.
No, I mean, the woman that was standing right next to her when she said that, African-American woman, she had a camera in her hand, and she pulled the camera away and looked at her and went, excuse me? What?
Yeah.
You can't incite violence. I mean, you can't talk about, I wish I could commit a crime, and then in the same breath start chanting, we choose love, we choose love, we choose love.
Ashley Judd also there.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Do I have to relive this again?
Ashley Judd, she allegedly was reciting a poem that she had been given by a 19-year-old woman from Tennessee named Nina Sullivan. I think Ashley Judd is actually Nina Sullivan. But here's the alleged Nina Sullivan's poem that Ashley Judd recited. This gives you a kind of a sense of the tone and tenor of the gathering.
I am a nasty woman. I'm not as nasty as a man who looks like he bathes in Cheeto dust. A man whose words are a diss track to America. Electoral college sanctioned hate speech contaminating this national anthem. I'm not as nasty as Confederate flags being tattooed across my city. Maybe the South actually is gonna rise again. Maybe for some, it never really fell. Blacks are still in shackles and graves just for being black. Slavery has been reinterpreted as the prison system in front of people who see melanin as animal skin. I am not as nasty as a swastika painted on a pride flag. And I didn't know devils could be resurrected, but I feel Hitler in these streets.
Yeah, there you go.
A mustache
Hitler has been
traded
called.
for a toupee. Nazis
Oh, no, hey, now those are
renamed
fighting
the
words.
cabinet.
That's his real hair.
Electroconversion therapy, the new.
Yeah, okay, you get the picture. But
I'm exhausted. You know what? I think there's something wrong with her. I'm
yeah.
just going to go out on a limb that she might have. I'm not. This is beyond having too much coffee. There might be something mentally wrong with her.
About 10 years ago, Ashley Judd just did check herself into a facility because she was allegedly suffering from depression and ennui. And
what?
Ennui, boredom.
Oh.
And you know what it's like to suffer from boredom. And you check yourself into a facility for 45 days to, get the spark back. Perhaps that's why she didn't. She decided not to run against Mitch McConnell for U.S. Senate in Kentucky, and she was considering it. Maybe she will again. Gosh, I hope so. And I know Rand Paul hopes she runs against him.
Yeah.
She couldn't pick a better Democrat nominee in Kentucky in 2018. But Ashley Judd went on to offer this.
Oh, you
got to play it.
You do have to play it, but I want to record it so that I can send it to my friends.
Please. I hope none of you listening have just had breakfast. If you're eating, you may want to put down your food item and listen to Ashley Judd representing the scissorhood of the traveling bloody jeans.
Nasty. I'm nasty. Like my blood stains on my bed sheets. We don't actually choose if and when to have our periods. Believe me, if we could, some of us would. We don't like throwing away our favorite pairs of underpants. Tell me, why are pads and Tampax still taxed? Ooh, that was a brand name. Why are tampons and pads still taxed when Viagra and Rogaine are not? Is your erection really more than protecting the sacred, messy part of my womanhood? Is the blood stain on my jeans more embarrassing than the thinning of your hair?
Those are great questions. But I'm going to pass on the answers. There's Ashley Judd for you. You want to hear more from Ashley Judd for the next 4 years? So I do. I want to hear as much from Ashley Judd as possible as representing the left. Just as I want to hear as much from Senator Pocahontas Crocodile, Hattet Mark Stein, as I can over the next 4 years. And also Michael Moore, because one of the great internet memes was big turnout for the women's P marches, but not nearly as big as the 30 million women who marched to their polling places on November 8th and voted for Trump. Michael Moore explains why that happened.
This election really showed that we've ignored the misogyny and the sexism that is still so prevalent and ingrained in many of the victims, the 46% of women that voted for Trump. And the 53% of white women that voted for Trump.
The 46% of women who voted for Trump, the 53% of white women who voted for Trump.
They're victims? I didn't know I was oppressed either, but after this weekend, I feel like I'm wrong.
They're victims, and Michael Moore has explained to you how you're a victim and also that you're not independent together enough to make an independent decision, a thoughtful decision for Donald Trump, that you're suffering from the patriarchy and from the subliminal misogyny that continues to afflict our culture. So you can't be held accountable for what you did because you're not a sophisticated, independent person if you're a woman who voted for Trump. So that's not denigrating to women at all. That's not a misogynistic comment at all.
Oh, no,
that's not a demeaning comment at all. No.
Oh, no.
See how tolerant the left is? See how informed and enlightened they are? How robust their intellectual offerings are? It's something to behold, isn't it? Holly from Hudson, who joins us on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Oh, my favorite meme by far was, in one day, Trump got more fat women walking than Michelle Obama did in 8 years.
Zing. Thanks for the call, Holly. Text from 708, Michael Moore uses extra large pads.
Oh,
he may, but that's only in solidarity with women.
You stop it.
Deborah and Palatine, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
There are still some sane women out there. I voted for Donald Trump. I am blessed to live in the greatest country in the world where women have freedom, and we do not know how fortunate we are. You want to talk about oppressed? There are plenty of other countries where, don't get me started, these women don't represent me, and frankly, I'm ashamed of them.
Thanks for the call, Deborah.
Well, I just hope they don't set this tone of resistance for the next 4 years. I mean,
and I hope they do.
So you hope they do. I don't know if they will, though, because I haven't spoken to a lot of my friends who went on the march. So I don't know if they're going to treat me differently, if they're still angry, or if they left it on the field.
Oh, I don't think their hostility subsides at all. I think it's always bubbling just below the surface, which is why I like it when people show me who they are. Then everybody knows. I love it.
Even hashtag Donald Trump, you better watch your back, because that's what my friends were seeing in pictures.
Love it. Be more shrill. Provide more bulletin board fodder, as it were, for social media. All the pictures, all the screeching, all the shrieking, all the name calling. More. I want more. Speaking of thinning hair and erections, Sean from Elmwood Park, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yes, and the answer to Ashley's Judd questions, all of them, is yes. And all I think about is her husband at the bar saying, "Thank God Donald Trump won. I thought she'd never get the hell out of the house." So that's great
She's divorced.
for her. And Madonna is clearly high, or she learned how to read in a Chicago public school system. Have you ever heard of? She's been a disgrace since the 80s. Madonna is, I mean, talk about milking a has-been. It's outrageous to me that you get away with that, and I don't care how much you disagree with somebody. When you threaten violence like that, they should be investigating her left, right, and center. I disagree with Donald Trump on many, many, many issues. But the one thing you can never do is threaten this kind of violence. And by the way, why did they burn Larry King's limousine? Can anybody tell me what the hell
Yeah,
Larry
I know.
King did? You
They
lit his
smashed.
limousine on
Well,
fire.
they smashed Starbucks windows too, Sean.
Everything wrong.
Thanks for the call,
They
Sean.
they smashed the windows where they go and have their coffee every day.
Maybe we can sign Ashley Judd up for TrumpSingles.com, which is enjoying a spike in membership. She can find a fella, and maybe she'll be less angry. Tom in Deer Park.
Good morning. You guys have highlighted all the weirdos and, put them out there. They speak for themselves. But there's a lot of people ticked off in this country with the crew in the White House. And my comment is, if I'm a Republican congressman, these midterm elections are going to be frightening. That's just my take, because there's a lot of ticked off people out there.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Tom. Midterm elections are always a concern for the party in power, but we got a long way to go to figure out how successful the Trump administration will be in advance of those elections, and thus what impact it will have.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Okay, he's coming. Join Michael Medved for a special luncheon on Thursday, February 2nd, when he retells the story of the American Miracle. It's presented by Active Alarm Company, and you can win tickets by being caller number 10 to 312-642-5600. If you're not a winner, just know the tickets start at just $32, and that includes a plated lunch. But right now, caller number 10 wins a pair of tickets to meet Michael Medved, 312-642-5600. Forecast for today, you can see it. The cloud coverage it's heavy and it's thick, and it's going to be here for today and tomorrow. Highs in the mid-40s. Let's jump into our alarm detection system traffic center. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. The traffic's thick on your inbound Kennedy. The delay started Foster, 57 minutes O'Hare to downtown, 38 from Montrose, 33 in the Express. Outbound 35 to the airport. Eden's 20 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound 23, the Eisenhower. An hour and 10 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, 55 minutes from Manheim. Outbound much improved. It's 41 minutes downtown to Thorndale. Stevenson, 58 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound, it's now fine. The Ryan, 29 minutes, 95th to downtown. We see big outbound delays on the Ryan and the express lanes. 47th to 59th with a crash, which has closed those lanes at 47th. The traffic's forced into the locals. It's still moving pretty well there for the most part. Lakeshore Drive, southbound, it's slow Lawrence to North Avenue and 18th to the Stevenson. I'm Jim Talamonte, the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
I have actually been on Balance of Nature for a year now. I have MS, and I recently had an MRI. This is the first year that I've had a stable MRI, so I'm thrilled. When I have an MRI with MS, usually there are glowing spots that come through, which is damage on the nerves in my brain and my spinal cord, and when they're glowing, it means they're active. And then my last MRI, they pulled it up, and I honestly couldn't believe that it was my MRI. There was nothing glowing. And in fact, the dark spots were shrinking. They were healing. And the doctor actually said to me, I think we're in remission. I was so happy. I had no idea that that could be my reality.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
Last winter was pretty much a piece of cake, but this winter, we're told, is gonna be a doozy.
Well, the Farmer's Almanac forewarns that bitterly cold, if not downright frigid, numbing cold weather will be predominating over these parts this winter.
Not looking good, but you can be ready. Smart businesses rely on Air Comfort to keep them and their customers warm this expected frigid winter. Air Comfort is one of the largest commercial and industrial service groups in the Chicago area, with dedicated factory-trained technicians that take a scientific approach to analyzing your system. They have comprehensive year-round preventative maintenance programs and emergency service, plus design, build, and install equipment for new construction and retrofits of existing mechanical systems. Now is a great time to call Air Comfort and schedule an analysis of your company's mechanical system by their certified award-winning engineering team. Call 708-345-1900 or visit aircomfort.com. Air Comfort, providing the right climate for business since 1935.
For me, it was the big S-Class from the 90s. Beautiful. My friend's dad had one.
The SL. All of the SLs. I've been watching those since I was a kid.
I think the 1971 SE was the first Mercedes that just blew me away. Everyone remembers the first time they saw one, and the day they began to long for a Mercedes-Benz of their own. Well, that day may be a lot closer than you think. With a certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz, you can experience the luxury, the unparalleled safety, the performance, and the style Mercedes-Benz is famous for at a price you can afford. Beautiful SUVs, sedans, coupes, and convertibles that are factory certified and covered by an unlimited mileage warranty for up to 3 years, so you can drive without a worry for as far as you like. And during the certified pre-owned sales event going on now through February 28th, you can receive 2 years of complimentary prepaid maintenance and special financing available through Mercedes-Benz Financial Services, only at your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer. You've waited long enough.
See your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer for complete details and limitations on certified pre-owned warranties.
Make the big football game on Super Sunday extra special this year by enjoying a fabulous microbrew. And the best way to get that microbrew is by heading to Sal's. Sal's Beverage World offers an extensive selection of hard-to-find beers and wines from around the world in every spirit imaginable. And unlike your grocer, Sal's offers expert advice on choosing the right beer, wine, or spirit at a great price. When you want more than just ordinary, stop in at Sal's in Elmhurst, Addison, or Villa Park, and you'll find it. You can also order online at salsbeverageworld.com. Mention AM560 and get a 20% discount on the regular price beers or wines for the big football game on Sunday. Don't settle on the usual from your local grocers. You could find yourself saying, that's not bad, instead of, that's perfect. Get it right at Sal's Beverage World. That's Sal's Beverage World in Elmhurst, Addison, and Villa Park.
Hey, last year's mild winter was nice. So far, though, we haven't been so lucky. Snowstorms, bitter cold, and it's only January. the price we pay for living here. So it's important to have a heating and cooling company you know you can depend on. That company is the original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling. They aren't one of those massive companies with newer technicians and subcontractors. Family owned and operated, Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling send only their own highly skilled technicians. From service to installation and everything in between, the work quality and customer service is the best. The original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling keeps homes and businesses comfy and warm. Call Carrie at 847-545-1700 or visit arlingtonheightsheatingandcooling.com. That's Carrie at 847-545-1700 or online at arlingtonheightsheatingandcooling.com. Mention AM 560 and receive 20% off your first service call. The original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling, not the biggest, just the best.
Hi, I'm Andrea Kashaba, owner of Tulane & Associates, an accounting and tax service in Elk Grove Village. If you're a small business, feeling snubbed or overcharged by your current accounting firm, I invite you to give us a try. You shouldn't have to feel overlooked by your current tax accountant because you're a small business. Small businesses and individuals are my specialty. I will always treat you and your business with respect, and we'll take care of as much or as little as you'd like us to do. From payroll to sales taxes, financial statements to business and personal taxes, projections, or bookkeeping services. Call Tulane & Associates at 847-952-1510 or visit TulaneandAssociates.com. That's THULIN, Tulane & Associates. Get a no-cost 1-hour initial consultation that could change the way you do business. Call 847-952-1510. That's 847